Alright, hello. I think this is working. We had a misfire again. We had a misfire with today's video, and then a misfire with the stream. YouTube's publishing tools are very much not cooperating with me. But I do think we are good. YouTube is saying we have no data, but I'm very clearly coming through. We are streaming this in AV1 in 4K 30, because my camera is only 4K 30. But we should be good. Hey there, how's it going? Today we're answering, well tonight, I'm gonna stream for about an hour-ish. Assuming all my like misfire notifications didn't screw over everything. Sounds like somebody having a case on the Mondays. Seriously. So assuming misfires didn't break notifications and anyone shows up. I see Cujo, Tarkeen, and Bennett is awesome over on Twitch. Twitch is, of course, still H264. They don't support AV1 yet. But over on YouTube, I'm streaming AV1 in 4K 30 over. We're pushing 20 megabits per second at the moment. Completely overkill for this, but I always push the max I have available. Yeah, we got some Q&A we can do. So if you have any questions about the AV1 update, about anything from today's video, let me know. We can dive into some stuff. And I just wanted to elaborate on some of the things that came up in the meantime while I wait for your chats. I mean, boo, H264, this sucks. I mean, it's a still talking heads scene. It's probably gonna look pretty decent regardless. Go ahead and post an announcement in the Discord here. Alright, anyway. So, I had some questions in the comments from the video, and I want to try to get that pulled up and while we wait for y'all to pour in here as I see things are in fact working. So, we obviously had a video go up today, a very, very important video regarding AV1 and YouTube as an update. Now, this is about a pretty major update to YouTube on the whole, which is the implementation of an updated... Why is my chat not updating? That's really weird. It's broken. What's up, Dave After Dark? Sending a message and waiting was a great test. What does latency look like for AV1 Live? I am on the low latency mode. I'm not on the ultra low latency mode because that doesn't usually work with 4K. Although even on the low latency mode here at the moment, it's yelling at me, telling me to change resolution because it's not supported for auto low latency, even though I'm fairly certain it is now. I see you're using the Keo for today's stream. I'm not. I'm actually using the Sony A7C with a 35mm lens. It's at f1.8, but it's an adapted Canon lens. And so it's having a little bit of trouble with the autofocus. I was seeing it's a Canon lens that doesn't work on my new R5C. And so I was trying to see if I could give it some life by adapting it to the A7C here. And it looks beautiful, especially, you know, full scene. Everything's blurred out, nice, just smeary bocalicious. But the autofocus is really struggling to keep up through the adapter. So I'm only getting 1440p as an option. That sucks! So yeah, it's not going to even give you all the full fat 4K. That's stupid. It must have just like forced it down. But yeah, so if I go out of focus at any point, it's because this lens on an adapter to Sony cannot keep up. I will switch back. I took my Elgato arm off and stuff, so it would be stupid wide if I switch back now, but there we go. Anyway, so obviously posted super important video today about the implementation of what's now, at the time when I wrote the video, it was called RTMP Plus. Now it's just called the Enhanced RTMP Spec. And it is effectively an update to the RTMP protocol, which has been in use for over 10 years now, which adds in AV1, VP9, and HEVC support. And that is a big deal. The protocol, obviously, again, hasn't been updated in 10 years, so shouts out to all the people that work on that. But it also brought forth not only support for AV1, but it also brought forth support for HEVC over RTMP because some people had trouble with HLS due to latency issues and things like that. This is really distracting how blurry it is. I'm going to kick it to manual focus. I did not expect it to be so bad, so There we go. Nope. Nope. This is hard to do. But if I move back, God. Hold on. We're doing it live, ladies and gentlemen. This is how all my casual streams do. I know I don't stream a whole lot on this specific YouTube channel, but over on my Twitch and my other channels, basically everything is done on the fly because I'm constantly changing and testing stuff. All right, we're here. Anyway, so while yes, the AV1 update is important and changes the future of streaming and all of that, as I said in this video, I do want to also mention that if you have an older graphics card going back to NVIDIA 10 series, you can actually stream in higher quality now with this update with HEVC, which is pretty cool. It's not gonna be as good as the AV1 and especially on those older cards, but it does give you a little quality of life that the AV1 update you obviously need new hardware for. So that's pretty cool as well. Catching up with chat here as I was distracted focusing my lens. I'm so excited for more people to use AV1 for more things. I'm a bit bummed I don't own any AV1 hardware. Yeah, that's a bummer. You should fix that. Not showing that you're live on desktop YouTube. Only can watch this on my phone. Well, I don't know what to tell you about that. Here, let me check on another channel. If I go home, shows it right there for me. Wait, is that a video? No, that's the stream. Yeah, I don't know. Shows it for me. If I look at my subscriptions, EposVox Live. Yeah. Don't know what to tell you. Still only seeing 1440p. That's super weird. I guess because it forced me down because I'm sitting. That's stupid. I guess the VOD will be available in 4K. What about AOM AV1? So yes, you can stream with both the SVT AV1 and the AOM. Here, I can actually show you. I'm streaming with the beta build now. So when you go to your stream settings, you choose the new RTMP S version. There's a drop down that'll show you like legacy RTMP if you want to use that for some reason. But then in output, I can't choose codecs. I guess that makes sense. In this code, I thought I could show you. In this codec menu, it will show you SVT AV1, AOM AV1, and then HEVC and AV1 for your respective graphics card, assuming you're on NVIDIA or Intel. AMD support is coming at some point, but there's slowdowns with testing and things like that, so they're not putting it in the specific 29.1 update as I understand it. But AMD obviously supports AV1 on the RX 7000 graphics cards. People keep getting mad at me because they think it's supposed to be on the 6000. It's not. Oh, it's right here in the video. It's literally right here. SVT AV1, AOM AV1. These are CPU codecs. So you will be able to stream AV1 with them if you want to try it. But you're probably going to run into some bottlenecks that way because it can be pretty tough to run. So, yeah. I heard a few videos ago an updated AMF encoder guide in the works. Yeah, I'm waiting on some calls with AMD so I can get you like the exact settings just to, be safe. Watching this with VP9, but looks better than most pre-recorded videos out there. Yeah, so that's something I put in the video, but it was towards the end, so I'm not sure how many people actually caught it. YouTube isn't forwarding AV1 streams to viewers at the moment. At some point, I would imagine as their hardware ramps up and things like that, they will introduce live, AV1 delivery for streams at some point. At the moment, it's just using the good old VP9, but VP9 is still way better looking than H.264. And the point is that they're ingesting AV1 and then they're transcoding it into whatever the viewer supports, because not everyone has AV1 supported decode hardware or CPUs that can support it, whatever. Whereas VP9's kind of tried and true at this point. And if you're doing 1080p or lower, or if you're on a really old device that tells YouTube it doesn't support even VP9, they do still do some AVC, encodes for stuff, and so you could get that as well. So. To me, this is what makes this kind of bit of competition between Twitch and YouTube at the moment really interesting, because at the moment, this is a huge win for YouTube. This is YouTube getting a huge feature that Twitch was literally the advocate for. They were the ones pushing it. Twitch's former principal video engineer, Ueshi Shin, I never say it right. I feel so bad for it. Mainly because I always try to rush through it. Shin was a huge advocate of AV1, started hyping it up back in 2018, and put out this whole roadmap for your Twitch to be on to AV1 by 2023 or 2024 at the latest. Keep in mind there's going to be a little bit added delay for the chat embed as well. It's not exact measurement, but whatever. Twitch was kind of one of the big first kind of public names in terms of like user-generated content ever talking about it. But then Shin went to work for TikTok in 2021, and as best as I can tell, Twitch has just gone silent about their roadmaps, about their development of this side of things, and all those sorts of things. So Twitch really championed this cause. YouTube is now the one to implement it, and YouTube is going to win in the short term for this. And if Twitch doesn't implement it at all, YouTube is going to blow Twitch out of the water in terms of quality. However, if Twitch does still like stick to their roadmap, if they're still able to introduce AV1 support, like full support through the stack, which will require a lot of things. It'll require them to change their containers, to change, obviously, the updated protocol on all of their infrastructure and things like that. It will also require them to introduce a second tier of transcoding, because they can't assume everyone can play back the AV1 feeds, and therefore they will need to also provide an H.264 copy of that feed, which they don't normally do for their default source quality streams. So there is a lot for Twitch to introduce to make this happen, but if they do, they have the source quality stream, assuming that they leave that intact for AV1. It could be possible that they do what YouTube does if they ingest AV1. If they leave a source quality stream like they have now for AV1, then you're able to, even at the 6 megabits per second bitrate cap that Twitch currently has, or 8 megabits per second, you're able to get a much higher quality, you're able to get a higher quality feed out of Twitch with AV1 if that works, because you're getting the raw feed. You're not having it filtered through a VP9 transcode. I hope any of that made sense. So right now, this is a big win for YouTube. Should Twitch implement it relatively soon, you're actually going to see a little higher quality on Twitch within that bitrate range, 6 to 8 megabits per second. If that's still their cap, those streams will look better on Twitch than YouTube. But you're able to send up to 50 megabits per second on YouTube. So you can get absurd bit rates and quality there. All right. It's been way too long to explain that. Catching up with you all. Huge question. Can you stream in 10-bit on YouTube? I haven't. I meant to test this actually before I started the stream. I haven't tried it. I don't know. YouTube still delivers SDR content in 8-bit. So I'm going to say no, but AV1 itself supports, like, it's natively 10-bit. And so it's tough. I don't think YouTube supports it for SDR content. It does for HDR content, but HDR content is currently disabled for the AV1 stuff until they get it working. 23 seconds delay on YouTube, Theo says, versus 9.82 with Twitch. That's wild. Can you live stream on YouTube with AV1 Gaming now? Yes, the actual protocol update has begun rolling out today, and the OBS update is theoretically releasing tomorrow, if not at some time this week, and you could do the nightly command in the OBS server to get the nightly build of it, but it's unsupported. Use it at your own risk, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. My chat okay, when I started the stream, my chat didn't scroll. Now it just keeps scrolling on its own. YouTube stream discovery is terrible still, though. Hey, so is Twitch's, because stream discovery as a concept is terrible. Because no one wants to watch a random person with no viewers when their forehead's sticking out a camera playing a game and not saying anything. Stream discovery on YouTube is fine when you do everything else required to get discovered, which also applies to Twitch. I've said this for years. I will continue saying this. Do you think it will be worth it to get an ARC GPU to put in my streaming PC to replace the 3070? I say yes. All of my capture rigs are ARC at this point, and even my I'm switching my Threadripper rig over to an all AMD rig soon. Threadripper's AMD, but all AMD rig soon that will be 7th gen or 7000 series Ryzen, not 7th gen. And with that, I will have a Threadripper Pro capture rig. So it will be a 3975WX with either an A380 or an A750, which is the most like imbalanced config ever. Well, that's because that's all you need. So gonna be pretty stoked. YouTube Stats for Nerd says, Codex, yes, you were receiving VP9. which is Google's open source codec. Oh, someone's shouting out Theo in the chat. Hell yeah. 8-bit beefy 9 with AAC audio. Yep. Twitch is just falling off now. Honestly, I'm really worried. Server's not laggy. I'm just responding to older messages and then they build up, you know, as I get to them. I'm really worried about the state of Twitch. We'll talk about it in a moment as I get caught up with chat. How long has AV1 worked on YouTube? There's been videos in AV1 on YouTube for, I mean, since 2018. It's been usable from the viewer standpoint since like 2020. Streaming wise, literally today. Today is it. That's why the big announcement happened today. Does A320 motherboard support A380 GPU? Well, every graphics card works on every motherboard, so sure. So what's going on with XSplit? They've been quiet from what I've heard about AV1 support. I'm pretty sure they support it. Like, they supported it pretty early. We just talked about that on my Discord server. The Intel guys said they support it. Pretty sure they did, like, very early on. What's up, Ernst Blowfield? No, you literally can't find streams on YouTube. Weird. I watch them all the time. You totally find them. Virtually every big streamer that has switched to YouTube has thrived on YouTube. I have no problem finding the streams that I want to find. And anyone who's watched a 24/7 music stream knows that YouTube shoves them in your face afterwards. Oh, look, Ambient Renders is streaming. Ludwig's live right now. Oh, you can't see that. Ludwig's live right now. Ambient Renders is live. Right in my subscriptions, it puts whatever channel is live right at the top. It doesn't always surface it on the homepage if you don't regularly watch streams, because that's how YouTube discovery works. It's like, oh, you don't watch streams. Why would we show you a stream? That's not going to get a click. We're going to try to show you what gets a click. But if you go to your subscriptions feed or the panel on the side, it's going to be right here. Doc was just live. Ludwig's live now. Boom. He's doing Pokemon. That's freaking sick. Return of the Ludlock. I didn't even know he streamed Pokemon. Although that's a Dr. Mario ROM hack. So be it. Really excited to stream 4K. Hell yeah. Is Discord AV1 streaming supported by 40 series cards? I mean, the 4080 and the 49, I guess the 4070 Ti is out now. Yeah, all 40 series cards are supported for Discord. I will have a video on that coming soon. It's quite the different experience from YouTube due to how Discord stream works. We actually recorded that, like the footage for it and the testing for it for like, right? They don't show you streams. Yep. They show you the streams if you want to find the streams. They even have a whole stream category. But they're not just going to put it on your homepage if you don't watch streams. Because that's the whole point I was making. Most people don't want to watch streams all the time. That's the hard truth that Twitch streamers are only slowly getting after years of complaining that no one wants to watch their streams. But yeah, Discord works very differently than normal streaming sites for their streaming, so there's a lot of stuff to keep in mind. But we recorded the test for that like as soon as the Discord update went like up. So I got some captures for it. I'll have a video coming for it at some point. And I wanted to do a video about the AI upscaler stuff in the driver, but Linus Tech Tips beat me to that, although they didn't cover Intel and AMD's versions because that happened after they filmed the video. So I may do something at some point, but I don't know if I have anything to offer to the conversation other than let's take some peeks at all three of them captured well. We're going to find the 29.1 beta. It's not out yet. It should release tomorrow, if not later this week. You can use the nightly command on the OBS Discord server if you want to try out an unsupported build that no one will help you with. Dual stream POG, absolutely. I don't think Twitch will receive AV1. And YouTube spent some time building their transcoding pipeline. I mean, Twitch has been working towards it for years. It's a matter of whether or not, with all their layoffs and all the revisions, and after Shin left, I don't know if they're still working on it, but they worked on it for years. Yes, AV1 support in Moonlight and Sunshine will be sick. Can anyone start streaming AV1 today? Well, once you have access to the OBS build and everything like that, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's rolling out. All YouTube things are rolling out, so you may not have it right away, but it's not like an exclusive thing. someone pointing out that they found the stream through the normal stream discovery features on YouTube. Working how they're supposed to. Been streaming on YouTube for 3 years now. Discovery has been way better for me. Yeah, I mean, if you have any audience, they're gonna find you better on YouTube than a whole ass other platform, especially if they're used to watching you on YouTube. Twitch, there's a million videos on this at this point, and stuff from people like Loco and even Ludwig, and Devin Nash, for whatever you may say about him. He has some good posts specifically about this. In that Twitch is exponentially tinier than YouTube, and Twitch's viewership is primarily the same like circle of people that does not change very often. Twitch does not grow. It does not have this massive viewer base. Everyone is fighting for this same small drink worth of viewers, and most of those viewers watch the same like 10 streamers over and over and over. There is no discovery to put you in front of those people at all, and there's no new people coming to Twitch to find you. And especially when you're on page 5 of a category or a game, no one in the world will ever find you. Whereas on YouTube, there are so many discovery systems baked in where if you put in a little effort with videos or shorts, or even with just the streams and you happen to get recommended in the right way, YouTube will show you to people. But YouTube knows, and they have learned over the years, that just shoving mindless streams in people's faces does not get clicks, and so they focus on what's gonna get the most clicks, even from your own content. And so if you have a viewer who does not watch streams ever, YouTube is not going to surface a stream to them unless they start clicking on one. Now you have notifications, you have your community tab to remind them, you can promote it in your videos, you have all of your third-party social media, Discord, whatever, to let people know. And once they start watching some streams and show that they're actually going to stick with them for a bit, YouTube will be like, hey, you probably want to know that this person streams more. And they'll start letting them know. But it would be a disservice to you and actually hurt your stream performance, as we saw when streaming was first introduced, or it's been introduced for a long time, but when it was first, like, when YouTube gaming really took off on YouTube and people started complaining that streaming was nuking their channel, it's because it was promoting it to literally everyone and no one was clicking on it, which told YouTube, wow, people really don't like this person's channel, and your click-through ratio went down, so YouTube stopped recommending your content to people more. YouTube is very strategic with these things. Given that Twitch supports greater than 8500 bitrate, albeit with source hidden. No, so what's happening? So there's a chat. It's probably a little scrolled up for you all now. There's chat message here. Here, I'll just show you a little bit. Given that Twitch supports greater than 8500 bitrate with source hidden. I feel like that's a misunderstanding of what's happening there. If you stream greater than the bitrate that your ingest server allows, which is typically 8 megabits per second, you can sometimes push up to the 8500. If you stream higher than that, Twitch forces you to transcoding because they effectively have to clamp down your signal. You're not getting good quality transcoding at this point. Usually the transcoding is actually pretty bad. So no, I don't think that is representative of their changes with transcoding or anything. It's literally them saying, holy crap, stop that. Epos is a Lud Bud confirmed. Considering I've not even heard the phrase Lud Bud before, probably not. By the time OBS update is stable, AV1 should be widely available to YouTube streamers. Absolutely. I don't see live often on my phone. I don't either, because I don't ever watch any streams on my phone, because that sounds miserable. I get a lot of shorts and a lot of like specific videos on phone. On desktop, I see WAN Show every time. I see Doc streams. I see Ludwig streams. I click on them sometimes. I get recommendations for more streams. You can finely tune your YouTube recommendations just by actually like watching stuff and telling it when you don't like stuff. And then YouTube makes really, really smart recommendations for you. All right, your all's chat is scrolling so fast I cannot keep up. Can I digitize DVHS rips using AV1? I know that was mostly a joke, but I would actually not recommend that. There's actually this whole thing. I ran into this a while back. Modern codecs like HEVC, even H.264 to some degree, H.264, HEVC, AV1, these codecs are designed for modern content. Higher resolution, higher frame rates, certain levels of detail. The way all the crazy maths and filtering and everything that I have zero attention span to deal with, but you can dig through decades of Doom 9 forums to learn about. The way those are tuned are catered towards the content that the codecs are designed for. AV1 and HEVC and stuff is designed for higher resolutions, higher quality content, and things like that. So actually, HEVC and AV1 are kind of poor choices for things like VHS captures and things like that. Even if you upscale them to 1080p or 4K, still not the best choice. You would be best suited using more lossless codecs, or I don't want to say MPEG 2, but like, you know, you would want to capture in the most lossless codec possible, de-interlace, and do everything first before you compress with a modern codec, and then after you've de-interlaced and upscaled, then you could maybe consider it. But I would go way overkill with the quality profiles and stuff, because if you try to min-max your bit rates with newer codecs on older content, it's not going to turn out great. Is there a chance that Discord can become the new Twitch? Yes, they have the stage channels that they introduce with videos, which are basically like Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces, but with video, which basically turns it into live streaming. It already had live streaming support. You have all these features in place. If they add an ounce of discovery, I think it could turn into Twitch, but it's not the same. So this is a whole separate rant. I'm gonna take a note. We can come back to this towards the end of the stream. It relates to Kick as well. Discussion, Discord, new Twitch. Thank you for the resub, not your parents, GNS. Discussion, Discord, new Twitch / Kick. I have lots to say on that. We can talk about that less relevant to AV1 in a bit if you all are interested. I just don't want to override like the purpose of the stream with it, but I have a lot to say with that. Do you think AMD AV1 will improve with 8000 series? I mean, ideally. We don't know that. Like, I don't know that any next generation GPU will improve AV1 encoding. It took a long time for H.264 to start getting improved in any graphics card generation from any company, not just AMD. But given how fast the AV1 encoder is moving, and there's already like development on an AV2 for some reason, absolutely, it could. I don't think it needs to. YouTube needs 5.1 surround already. That's actually in the works. It supports it on certain devices. You would think Twitch would be in a huge hurry to move to AV1. They were. Like I said, they were. Until their primary engineer left for TikTok, and they got quiet. So I hope they still are. But they absolutely were. They were probably in the biggest hurry for it of everyone else. If there's one thing Twitch does consistently, it's cutting costs. Yeah, they just announced that your inspector. What's up, Coalition Chris? They just announced that their inspector for like monitoring your bandwidth and internet stability over time, they're cutting the length of it from like 28 days to 7 days, which seems like a dumb cost cut, but I don't know. It just seems like a dumb thing. They support it with, YouTube supports 5.1 with live streams now for certain devices. Is AV1 encoding exclusive to graphics card, or can you use your CPU via software encoding? Yeah, I showed this a second ago. You can enable the SVT and AOM AV1 encoders. These are CPU-based encoders. They're just really hard to run, so if you're having trouble performance-wise and you have to reduce the presets to really fast presets, then you might as well just use graphics card, HEVC, or something instead. Like, they're very hard to run. YT chat, thumbnail delay are all things that need to be fixed or parity with Twitch, but multi-stream is the future. Multi-stream is absolutely the future. That also plays a role in the discussion we can have at the end about other streaming platforms. I pretty much turn to YouTube for all my video content and creation needs now because they're just doing things that work for me. Exactly. What's the strat on jumping on AV1 easily? A380, 120 bucks. Affiliate links in the video description. I should probably put it in the stream description. I was trying not to make this an Intel sponsored thing since that's the video is. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like, you know, this is more free, so I don't want it to seem like this particular stream is the sponsored gig. But I will add an affiliate link to the description. Intel Arc A380 affiliate link. Boom. This is a new egg link that I'm popping in chat. I know it doesn't look like it. That's just the... Oh, it's too long for the chat! Ha! Alright, it's in the description. Why is monetization off? I turned it on. Well, this is a stream without ads, ladies and gentlemen. That's fine. Y'all can roast me with your super chats if you want that. Would you run that dual GPU or do it solo? If it's a single PC, or if it's a dual PC or console setup, I would do solo. If it's a single PC setup, dual GPU. As a budget card, you don't want to game and stream on it. Only Intel has cheap options for AV1 right now. I don't see NVIDIA doing it just because they haven't done cheap options for anything. Like their last cheap option didn't even have the encoder upgrades, so we'll see. Alex with the 19-month Prime sub, monetize these nuts. Yeah, if we could get the Arc Pro A40, let me pull this up. Intel Arc A40. This is the graphics card I want. I want them to bring this more to market. This is the Arc A40. It's a pro workstation / server e-card, but it's single slot. It doesn't take power input because it pulls it all from the slot. This is the dream stream setup graphics card. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be quiet. We got a new channel member. Well, thank you, Blitz. Much appreciated. But it's single slot, so it doesn't block any of your PCIe slots or take up any slots in your system. It doesn't need extra power cables. This is the ideal dual GPU or streaming setup, so you have all the room for the capture cards and everything. I am so tired of losing my slots. Yeah. I found the stream in the YouTube sidebar, and I'm pretty sure it's just because I watched the AV1 video earlier today. Exactly! If you were the CEO of Twitch, what would be the first 3 things you could do? So, I like being very... How much does this run for? I don't even know if you can buy it. Let's talk about the A40 real quick. I'm sorry. This is ADHD at work. I bounce all over the place. Oh, what did we get? New member, Minutes Dragon! Thank you so much. Y'all rule. I don't think you can buy this. Like, I think server people can buy this. I don't think you can buy this right now. Yeah, like availability doesn't exist for it. We got an... Oh my god, you all rule. Thank you, Games, for the channel membership. Holy balls. You guys are amazing. So yeah, I don't know how much it runs for because I've yet to see it on sale. That's the problem. Anyway, so new question. Another channel member. Thank you, Wackyandu. What a name. If you were the CEO of Twitch, what would the first 3 things... So I like to clarify with this. I do not have a great business mindset. I didn't go to business school. I don't have the emotional like disconnect. Thank you, Owen, Quinn. You all are amazing. Holy... This might be the most channel members. Oh, it was a 10 gifted member. I didn't even see that. I forgot you could do that. All right, Blitz, with the 10 gifted subs. Oh, all right, that's really cool. All right, so I don't have the emotional disconnect to be CEO of a big business, especially a publicly traded one, especially one under the guise of freaking Amazon of all terrible companies. So I would not be able to function in such a role. But in terms of decision making, if I were consulting with the CEO of Twitch or something like that, the first 3 things I would do is completely overhaul communication and transparency. This was the crucial thing YouTube had to do about 7 years ago now, and I can't believe it's been that long. 2015 to 2016 was one of the darkest periods in YouTube's like history. The site was being taken over by spam, scam, and malicious content. PR was a nightmare. Adpocalypse has started, and YouTube was a completely non-communicative entity. They weren't sharing a whole lot of details. They weren't transparent, and the website was just being overrun with trash. YouTube had to make the hard decision to clean up a lot of that trash at the cost, which trash included MCNs, by the way. The cost of that was a lot of PR from those channels that got caught up in that sweep. But they cleared it all out. They gave Susan her own blog, and she took over being super transparent and communicative. And YouTube thrived. YouTube went from Twitch from 2013 to 2015. Twitch was just taking over YouTube. Everyone's like, oh, this live streaming thing is super low effort. Oh, I don't have to put in much effort and people throw money at me. It's the best thing in the world. And YouTube's rules suck right now. And everyone flocked to Twitch and YouTube was just burning. They flipped this switch and YouTube started fumbling a little bit and YouTube started thriving. It became one of the best platforms that ever did. They completely overhauled the front end again, which was, controversial at the time, but turned out to be pretty great. It's awesome. Twitch needs this moment. Twitch's communication has gone down the drain. The CEO was an absentee father for years. The new president is considered by many, based on the last TwitchCon's reporting, to be completely out of touch and have no clue what's going on either. They need someone that's the face, that's the community liaison, someone that can be trusted both to advise the CEO, president, whatever, to actually do things and advocate for the users and the creators, but also be the public communication face. And I know they had a communication guy and he quit because everyone was so out of touch, so I understand the things required here, but they need to overhaul the chain of command that has issues with that. Put up transparent, friendly communication that understands and reacts to the community. That would be step one. Step two would be to up the tech, to start innovating again. They haven't done this in years. They copied some features from Mixer and then sat still for 6 years. Up the tech, get AV1 going, get more innovative features going. Number 3 would have to be some sort of initiative for community-based events, I think. They really need to, and I know that falls in line with point 1, but they really need to do things that give people a reason to want to stream on Twitch. What they spent a lot of money, like millions of dollars doing, is they spent so much money and time trying to get viewers over. They spent way too much money on streamers' contracts. They were completely overpaid for those, but they were also overworked. So it's a contradiction. They shouldn't be requiring those hours. It's completely unhealthy. It burns everyone out. Stop that. But they did all these like NFL events, and they tried so hard to reach to people who don't watch game streams without investing in the content. They wanted to do NFL. They wanted to do concerts. It's not even that they got away from gaming. I don't like that take, because I think streaming and why it's so much better on YouTube is that it's more than gaming. They got away from user streaming into celebrity and major like television streaming. They were reaching out to old media. So bring it back to the users, give people a reason to stream there, and they will come naturally. People believe in Twitch so much. People still cling and want Twitch to succeed. They just want to be treated fairly, and they want the site to keep up. I think if you do those three things, Twitch will turn around a lot. Notice nowhere here do I put, nowhere in the top 3. It would probably be in top 5, but nowhere in top 3 do I say a higher sub share split. I think it's notable in its importance, but I don't think it's as crucial as people think. And that leads into my Kick rant that I posted on Twitter today and that we can talk about at the end of the stream. People aren't switching to Kick like they think they are, or that's the idea that they think they're chasing. But people aren't really interested in streaming on Kick recently because of higher revenue splits. That's not what actually matters to them. They just think it is, and they think that's why they switched. We can talk all about that after we answer more AV1 questions. Watched a new video on AV1, and you've inspired me to go for it and purchase an A380 for 120. Yes! More ARC! Alright, I'm gonna try my best to skim through the chat here. I don't normally watch streams, but this was promoted in my recommendations. Let's see. It probably because of... Okay. One last bit about stream discovery. It's also about the content. Twitch is all about nonsense titles because it kind of stands out and because titles are pointless. On YouTube, titles, metadata, the content of your stream matters just as much as it would for a video. And so if you're just like, yo, I'm playing Gears, dog, and someone doesn't watch Gears or doesn't watch Call of Duty or whatever, or doesn't click on videos titled like that, YouTube doesn't know how to recommend them. Whereas this is a video about AV1 and the YouTube update, and I titled it as plainly as possible. You don't always need to go plain, but this was a last minute idea, and so I just threw it up real quick. But like, it ties in directly to the video. So people who watch the video and who are getting recommended the video and clicking on it are then going to be recommended the stream because it relates to the stream or to the video. All right. Holy gifts. That was a lot of gifts. Thank you so much, Blitz. You're amazing. Do video of HLS H265 stream versus AV1. I mean, HLS is dead as far as I'm concerned. It runs worse for other people. RTMPS is going to be the way to go, but you can do H265. Comparing the quality is kind of pointless. Like, use whatever works for you. It all runs through YouTube's transcoding. Like, I can't do quantitative analysis because I can't get direct transcodes of the videos. Nothing good comes from it. Will AMD cards work with the new AV1? Will the 3080 work? 3080 won't. RTX 3000 series or 30 series does not have AV1 encoding, only decoding. AMD cards will work, but not with this specific update, as the OBS devs still have to update the encoder to support it. So that will be a slightly later update. Almost forgot, it seems NVIDIA GPUs can now do 5 encode sessions. Yes, if you missed it, apparently in the February driver update, I got to be the one who's quietly announced this last time it happened when they upped it from 2 to 3. But they quietly updated in the February driver update for all NVIDIA GPUs 10 series and up can now do 5 encode sessions, which is really great for multi-streaming, assuming you're not pushing the max settings. You are going to have to turn down settings to actually do it. But it's even better for RTX 40 series because they have the dual encoders, but also GTX 10 series. The 1050 Ti and higher, those also have dual encoders. Now, they don't work the same as RTX 40 series. RTX 40 series uses it only at 4K and higher and only on the P2 and P1 preset because it splits the frame in half and encodes it separately. On the GTX 10 series that have the dual GPUs, it's literally just 2 GPUs that the things can be assigned to separately. And they didn't really have a whole lot of software implementation for it. Those cards now have a lot more power for encoding, which is really awesome. That's a huge quality of life bump. 40 series do work with 29.1, yes. Just not AMD just yet. Modern codecs also have no interlace support. Yes, exactly. With AV1, are you still recommending single PCs for most creators? Yeah. There would be no, like, dual PC is dying more and more, I say, as I'm moving back to dual PC. Mostly because for the standard user, dual PC was appealing for quality purposes. And all the headache from it made it seem not worth it. Quality purposes have long gone, since at least RTX 20 series, if not sooner. Yeah. Can NVIDIA AV1 hardware encoders be improved by firmware updates? I mean, there can be tweaks to the SDK and to the OBS implementations and things like that that improve quality a little bit. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen that with H.264 over and over and over. Any gifters in the chat? Yeah, I missed that part. Appreciate you, Blitz. I am struggling to catch up here. Let me just... All right, I'm going to get to a certain point and then I'm just going to ditch some of the chat. Looks like, yeah. AV1 support for streaming OBS on NVIDIA 30 series cards when? Never. It's a complete hardware change from 30 to 40 that supports it. YouTube has no gift membership notifications. Apparently not. It just showed up its new subs, which is fine. It's a relatively new feature. Hi, Epos. Why is Premiere Pro dragging its heels and not giving us AV1 import-export support yet? I don't know. They actually announced, like, whenever AV1, the encoders were introduced with NVIDIA 30 series and stuff, or 40 series, Premiere was one of the first ones saying they were going to support it, including with Arc, but they don't at the moment. I don't know what the hangup is other than Adobe moves slow as hell. Like, they never support things quickly. So I don't know, like, why, other than Adobe moves really, really slowly. They just always have. Best high quality 1440p gameplay recording bitrate. Don't record targeting bitrates. Use CQP. CQP of like 20. Or 24 for AV1, I guess. Can you stream H.265 to YouTube now? Yes. I said that in the video. I have a 3090. NVIDIA has never said 30 series supports AV1 encoding. Decoding. Decoding. Was in the announcement whenever they first announced the graphics cards. Was in the press slides. Was in everything. Decoding, which is playback, not encoding. I think only 1080 Ti has dual encoders and some 1080s. I don't think that's true. GTX 1070 Plus are dual, 1050, 1060 single. That's probably true. So I misspoke. What's the use of BirdDog NDI devices if you can do NDI via software? I mean, that's like asking what the point of a capture card is if you can capture via software for other things. Cameras, display setups, the fact that in broadcast scenarios that BirdDog is kind of built for, you're not running OBS and an NDI plugin on your stream PC. You are capturing things all extra. True broadcast industry workflows do not involve running anything on a computer. It is all HDMI converted to SDI to whatever. So, like right now, my cameras run through NDI and then split out to a capture card just because I'm changing things. But like, It's like a capture card. It's for capturing things. AMD AV1 seems to use deep learning to improve sharpness. Intel has an option for that too. There's a little subjective quality bump thing. On both of those, it makes no positive difference. And in fact, when we were doing my AV1 tests with the Intel stuff in one of the stream VODs I linked in that video description, whenever I turned that on, we actually saw more blocking. Viewers complained about more blocking when I turned that option on. With AMD, I don't know about AV1 specifically, but that option's only available with H.264 at the moment, and I found it to be negligible. Technically better, but negligible. Like, no one's ever gonna know if you don't have it on. Let me rant about broadcast, Eddie. I can blow your mind explaining how Encore is just a glorified OBS output box. Yes. Cat, where Cat? Oh, Nathan, I don't have him in the studio at the moment. I'm sorry. What's current capture card recommendations? Age well if you can afford it. 4K 60 Pro Mark II or Live Gamer 4K. Unfortunately, there's been like no new capture cards. If you want external, HD60X or the Cap 4K are usually my favorites. Was that on setting on Intel for playback or streaming? It's for streaming. I think it's actually shown here. It's right here. You can see it right here. In the stream option, you have for Intel now a subjective video enhancements checkbox. This is for the stream quality. It is the same kind of thing that AMD does where it's the machine learning improved tweaks, but it's not going to make a difference in my opinion. And like I said, for AV1 at low bit rates, when we tested it, everyone said that it made things a little worse. Potentially because it improves. So the thing is, people have been getting this wrong since the early YouTube days. I'm talking 2009 to 2012 with old Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 videos. Link the article then. Video providers are starting to ramp up AV1 content production, and our latest... Yeah, hardware decoder. Anagram. That means playback, not streaming. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the subjective video thing. Going back to the Modern Warfare 2 days, people wanted to try to like overcompensate for YouTube compression by cranking up contrast and saturation and sharpness. The problem is that doing so makes compression worse. It is harder to encode things as it has more contrast and more color and more sharpness. You want an easy to encode video? Turn down sharpness, shoot something low contrast, and turn down saturation. It's gonna encode way better. And so some of those subjective settings, if they start improving sharpness, it actually compresses worse. So 30 series can encode and 40 series can encode decode. Yes. All current generation graphics cards, RTX 40 series, AMD RX 7000 series, and Intel Arc can encode and decode. The previous generation before that, RTX 30 series, RX 6000, and iGPU drivers can decode only. And then the generations before that can't do anything with AV1. Actually, I think Intel had a couple generations of iGPU that could decode, but only a couple. I would love to hear a rant about how Encore is just a glorified OBS output box. Don't get me started on my issues with vMix at the moment. All right, checking on a couple things. I was originally planning on only going for an hour, but y'all have some great questions, so I'm happy to keep answering them. Any buzz on Twitch adopting anytime soon? Nope. We had a whole thing earlier in the stream. Twitch is completely silent ever since their principal video engineer went to TikTok in 2021. They used to be a lot more transparent and have like a roadmap and stuff, and now they're just crickets. Doesn't mean they're not working on it. I'm just disappointed that they're not communicating it, because my whole thing about if I was Twitch CEO was they need to communicate. I'm guessing a lot of that is trickled down from Amazon execs, though, especially since Twitch's back-end tech has become an Amazon product. It's no longer really Twitch. I do want to see the dual AV1 performance on 40 series. I mean, I covered it in a couple videos now. It's mind-blowing. Like, RTX 40 series encoding performance is so great that I cannot benchmark it because it is impossible to make struggle within the limits of, like, OBS and things like that. I had a whole video on this. It was a couple months ago. Where? Hello? It was after the... Oh, yeah. Duh. Right here. I'll link it in chat. That video... Oh, it has a time code on it. Sorry. That video is about the encoding performance and why there's no point to benchmarking it because it just doesn't stop. Unfortunately, AMD's quality and stuff may have improved and they do have some cool capabilities, but they don't even begin to touch that. You watch your own videos and you... Well, yeah. Otherwise, how do you know if it came out right? Hey, Addy, just watched the AV1 video you released. Great video. I was wondering what sort of performance hit was seen using AV1 in a single PC. Streaming on Arc itself, like Halo Infinite and stuff, I'd say maybe 10 FPS. Like, it was there. I felt it when it kicked on. But playing like Halo Infinite and stuff, like, I didn't really know it was there. On NVIDIA, you're not going to notice it at all. Like, the hit is non-existent. On AMD, as long as you use... I don't remember the preset names, but instead of like the top quality preset, like that at 4K and stuff isn't doable. Whatever the bottom quality preset is, which is fine, that one performs fine, like probably a 10-ish FPS hit as usual. But the quality one like can't keep up for AV1. Did you see John Wick Chapter 4? No, I've only seen the first one so far, so I'm behind. You think OBS will work with NVIDIA to stream and record AV1 to YouTube? Yes, it's in the 29.1 update. Talking about vMix, it freezes when I start and end the stream. Well, that sucks. I swear I remember being able to see AV1 videos on my RTX 2060, not anymore though. I mean, you can still decode them on CPU, so that doesn't keep you from watching them. You just don't get hardware accelerated decoding. But that's record, not stream, right? Recording and streaming is the same process. It is just encoding video. One sends it out over the network, so you need network, but like recording to disk and streaming to the network is the same process. The performance is identical. Do you think next-gen GPUs will support VVC encode decode? I doubt it. Doesn't mean it won't. Like if there's enough push from like the film side, production house side, I don't know that it'd be next generation. That would be a little too aggressive. We might see decode next generation. But there has been so little talk on the VVC H.266 front. I don't see it. I don't see it. For those watching, VVC/H.266 is the evolution of HEVC and H.265, which is another high efficiency codec, but it's under the same patent stranglehold and licensing fees issues as H.265 is, which is why, as far as most of the streaming scene goes, it's dead on arrival, just like H.265 was. All I want to know is, will my A380 plate splitgate? Probably. If you keep your expectations in check, probably. Would actually love to hear the vMix rant sometime. Sometime. When phones can do AV1. Hopefully soon. I think some can, but it's like hit or miss. I know smart TVs can, like even my CX OLED from 2020 can. The PlayStation 4 Pro can play it back. Lots of Android TV boxes can. Which camera are you streaming now? It's the A7C with a Sigma 35mm f1.4 lens adapted from the Canon mount. So autofocus is pretty crap because of the adapter. AV1 will kill H.266. I mean, probably. Everyone's invested in AV1, not H.266. How are you streaming both to Twitch at the same time when Twitch doesn't support AV1 yet? I'm using the multiple RTMP plugin for OBS. So I'm sending H.264 to Twitch. Oh, Wizard in the LCD, answer me this. When will VLC get VSR upscaling? I didn't even know MPC had it. I hope MPV gets it. So I didn't even know that was a thing. So that's exciting. So I don't have an answer for it. Assuming that on that basis, CPU encode of AV1 is probably not going to be viable for one PC streaming. Yeah, CPU encoding for AV1 on single PC isn't really viable. I don't see it becoming a thing. Thank you for the super chat, Uncle Tababyte. When AV1 come to Twitch? I would also like to know. How about H.265 422 10-bit decode on NVIDIA? Do you see that coming in 50 series, or only will Intel support it? So here's the thing. Can Adobe Premiere process AV1? Not yet. So here's the thing about 10-bit 422. This has been an issue if you're unfamiliar. It's a codec that, or a format, it's not a codec, but it's a format of video that a lot of cameras shoot. And only iGPUs from Intel and Intel Arc actually decode with hardware this format. And this has been a whole thing that for years now, a lot of people have made sure they enable the iGPU on Intel, and it's what pushed a lot of people to like MacBooks and stuff, because the performance gain from using those codecs from their cameras and getting that decode was so massive that you always wanted an iGPU paired with your DGPU for that performance when you're video editing. In Premiere, and I guess Final Cut. In DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't matter as much. DaVinci Resolve still decodes a lot of that stuff on hardware just through their own engine with whatever wizardry they do. So I don't know that it matters these days, but no, NVIDIA still just gives me weird like eye rolls every time I ask about this. They don't give me an answer as effective. Like I don't get any straight answer. I don't know why it's not supported. I don't know when it'll be supported. It is a huge, as much as I preach about 444 support for like lossless scaling and things like that, missing 422 decode is just shooting themselves in the foot, I think, for both companies. Like, I don't know. The first one to do it is going to be a video editing powerhouse. How much stress does having two different encodes give to the PC? Well, I'm using NVENC for both of them. So YouTube right now is getting NVENC AV1. Twitch is getting NVENC H.264. Let me pull up Taskman here. I mean, none, really. Like, it's all running on the graphics card, so it's dedicated hardware for it. So, like, my CPU is not doing anything, really, other than playing back music in the previews. My GPU. And this is a 4K stream with a lot of graphics and stuff, so we're using, like, 40% of my 4090 for the graphics and having all my windows open and stuff. The video encode is only 19%. We are streaming both AV1 in 4K and 1080p in H.264, and we're only using 20% of the encoding headroom on the 4090. That's it. We're using more of the decode to decode all the different streams on all my different tabs and stuff. That's how insane it is. Are you a night owl or a day person? Absolutely a night owl. Does Intel have a chance against AMD? Oh, heck yeah, Games. You got gifted a membership. Does Intel have a chance to compete against AMD? On the budget side, absolutely. They already do. I think Intel has a lot of work on the driver front that they've been doing, absolutely, to get performance competitive. But I think as time goes, the Intel GPUs, VP9 YouTube worse than AVC Twitch? No. Nope. No. Not happening. Not true. False. I think as time goes on, Intel will be more and more competitive as more games use DirectX 12 as they get the next generation out and all of that. I might have missed it. Will DaVinci do AV1? Yes, you will have most optimal results with DaVinci Resolve Studio. You're going to have some issues with the free version, but I use it every day. Are the current AV1 encoders worthwhile for 120 FPS? Yes, YouTube does not support 120 FPS, but that was the whole goal for Twitch. And yeah, the current encoders work it just fine. For DaVinci Editor, does the 770 cut it? I don't remember. I covered it in my review. And honestly, it will do a lot better now with the recent updates. But I don't remember. I'm being honest. It's been like 8 months. How much performance gain do you think we can expect on future GPU's AV1 encoders? Would it be worthwhile to wait? I don't even know whether we should expect any performance improvement or not. Like, NVIDIA put up so much encoding headroom on the 40 series that I don't see any point of them doing it at all. Like, changing anything for a while. I think AMD and Intel will continue to push some innovation because that's what they need to do right now. But for all intents and purposes, I don't see, like, you'd be waiting for something that you don't even know that's going to happen and won't make a big difference. My 4090 stutters when paired with the 12700K, especially when I stream. Probably just needs some settings optimization. If you're getting render lag, you got a lot of stuff to work out. AV1 isn't going to change that. AV1's an encoder. It doesn't affect your render lag. Thank you, Fabio! Do you think AV1 will make 4K streaming a possibility? Yes, that's basically what my whole video was about. If you're going to stream on one PC, would you say to get the new AMD CPUs or Intel CPUs? I mean, you're going to be happy with both. The 13th gen is great. 7000 Ryzen is great. I haven't used Ryzen 7000 yet, so I can't speak to it much, but all the, all the benchmarks and coverage are very positive. Everyone's really stoked on the 3D catch version of Ryzen 7000. Battle Mage leaks this week. Well, I haven't seen those. There was... Oh, yeah. Twitch chat had a question I was going to answer. What do you think about NVIDIA opening up 2 more lanes of encoding on NVENC for 20XX+? Oh, yeah. The increase to 5 sessions. We talked about that a little earlier. It's great. You will have to tweak your encode settings potentially if you're wanting to do a bunch. But so here's the thing. I've been pushing NVIDIA to unlock their encode sessions for a while. And yes, there is a driver patch you can do to unlock to unlimited encode sessions. You're still limited on number of encode sessions based on performance. Like, you're not getting unlimited. But I've been pushing them for them to increase it for a long time because we were entering, and we are now fully into a stage of streaming being so focused on multi-streaming, where you're streaming to Twitch and to YouTube, or you're streaming and recording. You're streaming, recording, and doing clips either through the replay buffer in OBS or through Shadowplay. 3 sessions was a must. I think 5 is becoming more of a possibility now that more people are doing vertical formats and doing extra instant replay stuff, and just to make sure that if you have extra stuff going, something doesn't stop you. And I think 6 would have been safer, but at this point, I'm just happy that they opened it up. Why do you think they revised RTMP instead of switching to SRT or HLS? HLS kind of sucks. Apple pushes that really heavily, and no one else seems to want it. So that's why for that. I don't know why YouTube doesn't support SRT. SRT is another protocol that everyone seems to love as a superior protocol. That does a lot of cool stuff. I don't have the answer to that. I think everyone wants YouTube to support SRT. I can't tell you why they don't. I'm not an engineer, and YouTube is very quiet about things until things are ready. I love the people over there, but when they don't have things about to come out, they don't talk about it. From the super developmental side. Obviously from like general decision-making side, they do. I'm all for AV1. Should I buy an RTX 4000 knowing they support AV1, but maybe next... Again, no. Don't wait to buy... There's no reason to think next generation anything will be better for AV1. The answer is never to wait for buying things, pretty much, but... Do you use multiple OBS instances to stream? Nope. Just the multiple output RTMP plugin for OBS. OBS itself runs through the new RTMP protocol to YouTube, and then the plugin shoots out to Twitch or to Aircast or whatever. How do you know how many encode you have open or even know what patch it in? You can't track your session numbers if that's what you mean. Like, you just have to know what you're doing on your computer. Like, are you streaming? Are you recording? Is Shadowplay running? Like, there's no metric you can track. Yeah, Twitch doesn't support RIST or SRT either. Can't wait for a Raspberry Pi doing AV1. Yeah, you're going to be waiting a while. A long while. Do you have Windows 11 deemed to match Windows XP? Yeah, I did a video on it. Using A380 to encode stream and RTX 2060 to render game in the same computer is a good idea. If you are on a newer platform. I have gained a lot of infamy for taking a lot of people off by pointing out things that they didn't realize. By saying that dual GPU is a bad idea. And the OBS devs still absolutely maintain that position as well. On older CPU platforms, you do not have enough PCIe lanes to split up dual GPU. I know Gamers Nexus and plenty of other people have done tests showing that it doesn't matter if you limit your graphics card to 8 lanes or whatever, it doesn't affect things. I have tested it repeatedly on platforms around the time of 2018 to 2019. It absolutely hurts it to drop it down and play DirectX 12 and like really intense games and then try to texture share, which is what happens when you stream your game across the PCIe bus to another graphics card. It absolutely starts hurting. on newer chipsets, on, you know, Intel 12th and 13th gen, Ryzen 5000 and 7000, the higher end motherboards, you have a lot more lanes and slots to work with. And the A380, for example, from Intel is only X8 slot. Like, it is physically 16, but electrically it's only X8. And so you can absolutely get away with it a lot more now. It's still not going to be perfect, and there's still lots of quirks with like sources not working properly across GPUs, but it can absolutely work. Is there a way to do multi-RTMP in Streamlabs OBS? I'm pretty sure they just have a restream tool built in, but otherwise I don't know. Streamlabs OBS is terrible, don't use it. Are HDR YouTube streams still fixed at 1000 nits? I have no idea. Probably. I've been using the RX 6900 XT with the ARC A380 on an MSI B550 Tomahawk. Wow, B550 would be like the budget chipset, so that's impressive. Is 5600X okay for dual GPU streaming? Probably. Depends on your motherboard. Those YouTubers only test games. Yeah, that's what people don't get, is gaming on a GPU doesn't use very much PCIe bandwidth. Now, I still saw some performance degradation by dropping the slot down to X8 in that original video, but gaming itself doesn't use a ton of bandwidth. But recording while you're gaming, streaming those raw textures and stuff, that uses a bunch of bandwidth, and especially sending it between GPUs, and then you got to stream it, or you're going over the chipset to the next one, blah blah blah. You start using bandwidth. What should I do to stream 21:9 to YouTube and 16:9 to Twitch? Now that you would need separate OBS instances for, although I would recommend just streaming 21:9 to Twitch because it does mostly support it. You might, I don't know if transcoding works with it, but like format-wise, it supports it. Wait, Shadowplay allows up to 130 megabits per second at 1080p now. If you set it to 4K, but you're gaming at 1080p, it will still record 1080p, but you get the higher bit rates. I don't like how Shadowplay does that, but you can do it. Why isn't the NVIDIA AV1 encoder showing up in OBS for streaming? Probably because you don't have the beta that hasn't come out yet, or the nightly that you can get in the Discord, or aren't set up on the right settings. I mean, the beta officially doesn't even release until at least tomorrow. So if you just opened up OBS and tried it, it's not going to show up. Just got here. Sorry for the stupid question. Are you testing AV1 streaming right now? I am testing it, but I'm using a 4090 for this one because this is my main editing workstation. So we're using NVINC AV1. But yeah, I'm streaming AV1. I'm streaming at 4K. For most people, apparently, the stream's only showing up in 1440p on YouTube because of the latency selection I chose. Spoilers. Is there any way to have two instances of OBS open for one stream and another for recording? Well, purely for one for streaming and one for recording would be terrible. But in general, you can, having them both capture, like game capture, the sources will conflict with each other. You'd have to like virtual cam one to the other or NDI one to the other or something. If my source game is 1080p, is there a big performance hit to upscale to 1440p or 4K to YouTube? No. So you would do this. I can only sort of show you since I'm live in OBS. But if you're playing at 1080p, I still recommend streaming 1440p or 4K to YouTube, and you can do that simply without changing anything else by going to your video settings, and you're set at 1080p for your canvas resolution. Set your scaled resolution to 1440p, and make sure you're on the bicubic scale filter, and that will just upscale during the encode process, and it's super lightweight to do so, and you're going to get higher quality on YouTube for videos and for streams. If you want to learn more secret ticks and ticks? You want to learn some ticks? You want to learn more secret tips and tricks? I have an OBS course, a whole new masterclass. It's going to be over 100 videos coming very soon. You can sign up for notifications on that. My original plan was to launch in March. That was before I doubled the depth of the course to the amount of videos and stuff. So I am launching towards the end of April. Sign up to get notified there. Streamtheory.gg. You don't want to miss it. It's everything I wanted the original masterclass to be and more, so I'm taking my time to make sure it's that. So I will send out emails at the very end of March to let y'all know that this is happening at the end of April, and I will try to keep you updated should I need to delay it more. Dumb question. Does it work on any graphics card? RTX 40 series and Intel Arc at the moment. Can't remember if you've covered Midjourney V5 yet or not. I did over on the Analog Dreams channel. Can ARC A380 do encoding when connected to PCIe 3.0 X4? I believe so. I haven't actually tested yet, but most likely. Did you test i4 8-bit versus i420 8-bit in AV1? Well, streaming 444 doesn't really work on any platform. Don't do it. NVIDIA's AV1 doesn't support 444. AMD's apparently tells OBS it does, but then it fakes it. Like I got confirmation from AMD that they don't support anything but 420 in their encoders, which is really disappointing to hear. So that it doesn't actually support it. And then in Intel, like there was no point for me to check it for streaming, because again, streaming 444 doesn't really work. Sorry for the specific question. What's the highest 21:9 resolution sports? My stream is just black every time I try 2560 by 1080. That format should definitely work. I have no idea why it would just be black. You can stream up to 4K on Twitch now. You're just limited on bandwidth. Speaking of tips, your Stream Elements tip page isn't working. Oh no! What? Have I been rejecting tips? What? What? No, I tested it before I went live. Here, I'll open an incognito. It definitely shows. Did you send one and there's not an alert? Let me, am I ignoring alerts? Maybe I missed it. Like I could have just been looking at chat. Stream Elements. I'm so sorry if I missed it. It's just white pages. I just checked an incognito. It still works. So I don't know what to tell you there. Activity feed? I got this. Oh, that's, yeah, I got the super chat, but I didn't get any stream element. I mean, I just checked and it works, so I don't know. Sorry. If I heard correctly in your video, ARC QSV greater than NVINC until AV1. Yeah, so for white pages for me too. That is, I genuinely don't know what to tell you. If I'm logged in, it works. If I open up private mode in Firefox, it works. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. There's super thanks on YouTube or super stickers. The tip button you have on Twitch is the wrong link? Oh. I don't even know what's on Twitch. Here. Use that one. I hate that Stream Elements doesn't have better support for, like, multi-streaming. It drives me insane. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. All right, let me catch back. I was answering a question. So yes, so for 12th gen and mostly 11th gen, iGPUs from Intel and then ARC, the QuickSync H.264 video quality generally trends better than NVINC does, at least in the VMAF tests and in stuff I've looked at. That loads. The Twitch link is missing the 3910. Yeah, that's because the 3910 is specifically for YouTube. The plain EposVox one is just for Twitch. Like, should work. I'll try it without the 3910. But yeah, for H.264, QuickSync generally looks a little bit better than NVINC. It's negligible, like it's neck and neck. Oh, that one does white page for me though. That sucks. Well, I sent the updated one. But it's... at times it can be super impressive, like depending on source material, and other times it's less. Really, at this point, most of the GPU encoders are really neck and neck at this point. For AV1, there is... Oh, thank you for the tip. Sorry for the... Thank you, Leeboy Kenobi. Lebo1 Kenobi. Lol. But for AV1, they're all pretty close. I'm going to have some data soon for it, but yeah. All right. Which upscaling method is better for sharper image and streaming? Just do bicubic. Lanxos adds like artifacts and stuff. I generally just don't recommend it. Just do bicubic. Is AV1 in the dual PC era? No more than NVINC already should have. Will AV1 improve YouTube quality by being less bandwidth heavy? Yes, that is. Go watch my video that released like 9 hours ago. Absolutely. That is what this is all about. Yes. Yeah, I need to figure out my own tips page I can host that I have an API for. I'm kind of done relying on other services for alerts and for all of these things. It's just hard to get some of those self-hosted for alerts specifically. I have a bot set up. I don't have it on at the moment so that I can start funneling you all to Discord subs instead of Twitch and YouTube subs. I got a bot for my own alerts because no one supports it, so I'm just doing my own. Is Shadowplay GeForce Experience getting a rework soon? Not that I know of. I used to stream on one PC and record a different PC with NDI. I mean, if you need the performance gain, sure. Thank you all for hanging out with me in the stream. This has been awesome. I need to do Q&A streams whenever I have big videos like this more often. I just don't always have the schedule for streaming. And like really right now I have some serious videos I should be working on, but I really wanted to get, you all had so many great questions in the comments. By the way, music you're listening to is from Backing Track, our royalty-free, stream-safe, video-safe, free-to-use music service. It's all focused on rock and metal, although we do have some chillwave stuff coming soon. And then chip rock coming later in the year. But we just dropped the new album Slayer Wars, which is really hardcore. I describe it as the if like Skrillex or the dubstep genre and Doom Eternal had a baby. So you can check that out, backingtrack.gg, if you want to stream it. Downloads are available in our Discord. It is completely free. You don't even have to give credit, though we do ask, obviously if someone asks where it comes from, you maybe point them our way. But yeah, just a resource we want to provide back to the community. I currently have an RTX 2070 Super and plan to upgrade to 4080 soon. Can I use it to help my stream? Or should I sell it to try to have an ARC together? I mean, 2070 Super still has a good H.264 and HEVC encoder, so if you're doing... I wouldn't use a 2070 Super as a dual GPU setup. I would rather see you use ARC or just use the 4080. Yeah, the 4080 already has AV1, so I wouldn't even... Sorry, Intel, but I wouldn't even buy ARC at that point, because you already have a 4080 that does AV1. Are the lower end cards like 4060, 4050, if it comes out, going to have AV1? As far as we know. NVIDIA's always done that, so absolutely should. What capture card would you recommend for 4K 120, 4K 144 Hz, preferably with HDR? Doesn't exist. Will NV1 be M2, M1 Apple Silicon ready? If you mean AV1, I don't know. That is a point I have a article hopefully coming out on PC World soon about the update, and that's one of the concerns I brought up. I don't think it's out yet. But Apple is one of the founding members of AO Media, the Alliance for Open Media that is developing the AV1 codec. Apple is one of the founding members. They joined in 2018, and yet they have been completely silent about AV1. What I am imagining is that Apple has been developing AV1 support, either decode or maybe even encode on some of the newer stuff, and just not enabling it or alluding to it or saying anything about it. And then once they have the right moment of something that supports it that they want to support, they are going to flip on support and talk about it at WWDC or something and be like, and we just turned it on. But until then, I got no idea. They don't have any support for it at the moment. Is there any issues if you have 2 GPUs and 1 PC? There can be. I have a video. Here, I'll link it in chat. I have a video on dual GPU and why it can go wrong. As I just mentioned earlier in the stream, newer motherboards for Intel 11th and 12th, and well, mostly 12th and 13th gen, and Ryzen 5000 and newer have more PCIe lanes. So if you have a higher end board, you will have less trouble with it. You're going to have a lot easier time. But on older hardware, there absolutely can be issues, and they are described in this video. Is AV1 supported on Twitch now? No. We have no clue when Twitch is getting support for it. Thank you, Kelly. I'm the stream professor, not the stream genius, but hey. Is AV1 supported on streaming for macOS as well? I'm pretty sure no. I don't even know if they have the CPU encoder supported on Mac, honestly. I think they do, but I don't know. Can OBS rewind currently the way Elgato Capture allows you to? So you don't get the timeline view, you just get the replay buffer. So you can just set a set time that the button dumps. That's it. If I want to switch to an all Intel setup with an A380, could I still use Ubuntu server for hosting Jellyfin? From what I hear, there's still some Linux issues with Arc. Yeah, I don't know for certain, but I've been hearing issues of Intel or of Linux issues with Arc. Why do you think Twitch is taking so long with AV1? I mean, they're not taking. They could come out with it tomorrow, so we don't know that they're taking so long compared to anyone else at the moment. But mostly because, as I said earlier, their main video engineer that led so much of their infrastructure build out from Twitch's founding basically, left in 2021 to go work for TikTok, and they have been silent about things ever since. And he was the huge AV1 advocate, so I don't know if they're even interested in it anymore because they haven't talked about it. So, like I said, they could totally introduce it tomorrow because this is an update to the spec that everyone uses. So all streaming platforms will start introducing it at some point if they're updating. They do have a hardware encoder in the SoC. Yeah, but they've never specified that Mac hardware supports AV1 encoding. Only H.264, H.265, and then the higher end stuff can do some ProRes. What preset are you using for the current AV1 stream? Here are my current settings. We're doing 20 megabits per second at P7. High quality, 2-pass quarter res, main psycho. Okay. And there is no main 10, so I guess it doesn't support 10-bit for streaming just yet. AV2 is apparently a thing that's in the works. Alright, had a big question in Twitch I want to check. I'm sorry if I posted this earlier, I missed it. Would streaming 4K AV1 to YouTube VOD channel while also streaming 1080p to Twitch be viable once it's out of beta? Absolutely. Someone's asking about it being against the rules. If you are just streaming to a private stream and then making the VOD later, or live later, that's nothing Twitch can enforce, rule-wise on you. That would be totally fine. Absolutely. And that would save you a lot of effort, too. Twitch been testing AV1 since 2020. Yes, I've covered that in all my AV1 coverage, but that was before the engineer left. That was talking about it and advocating for it all. I even interviewed him in my RTX 30 series video. He left, and then they got quiet about it. So we don't know if they're still doing it. That was a single test. We don't know that they've done anything since 2020. How many encode sessions can Arc support? As far as I know, it's not locked. So it's just down to performance. Is encoding performance of the iGPU same with that of a GPU? No. And even there's been some rumors about 14th gen Intel getting AV1 support for encoding. The leak that I saw, they specified it's low power AV1 encoding, which may mean you're limited on resolution or something. It's not going to compete with Arc. Twitch barely enforces that rule anyway. Yeah. I mean, the language in Twitch's multi-streaming clause has to do with it being live. You know if YouTube will fix blurry streaming issues. I don't know how to respond to this without being mean. I will say go watch today's video. I blue screened my PC, so I'm playing catch up. But we do expose AOM, but not SVT on macOS. Oh, that's good to know. No AV1 via the Apple VT encoder. Yeah, that doesn't exist yet. When you need a fast enough internet to support 2 streams enough for that. I mean, yeah, you gotta support what you're sending. Twitch also has a 24-hour exclusivity clause for affiliates. Yep, even less enforced than the partner one. With respect to AV1 and VP9 on Twitch, they were testing VP9 transcode in South Korea during 2021. That was still 2 years behind the roadmap. Yeah, they were trying to do that for events and for saving bandwidth in regions like South Korea, but they've since just completely resolution and data rate limited that region. So I don't know if they gave up on that. I would love, if anyone's watching, I would love to interview someone from Twitch, engineer-wise, to talk about this with approval, but I feel like the corporate structure with, like, Amazon and stuff, like, I feel like if they're not talking at this point, it's because they can't. But I would absolutely love to. I would love to sit down with anyone at Twitch to talk about things. And, like, for video, I mean, privately, too, but, like, for, you know, public interviewing. Can you test AV1 and NVINC 120Hz streaming to Twitch? Well, Twitch doesn't support it, so no, I can't. Where did Theo go? Probably back to work. Yeah, I mean, I interviewed Shin not multiple times. I talked to him multiple times. I interviewed him for the 30 series launch just to talk about Twitch's plan for AV1, and then I haven't been able to talk to anyone else. I only have about $40 to spend. What would be the best mic to get? A used Elgato Wave 1 or Samsung Q2U if you can find them. When you have that little money, you either save up more or you spend a lot of time finding the deal. Don't buy something that's just shit tier because you don't have enough money. You're gonna regret it later. That's just wasting money when you have to buy something later. As far as I know, Xilinx killed their FPGA encoder. False. Oh, VP91. Possibly. Well, how about when Twitch does support AV1? Of course I will test it. What do you think I do here? My plan when I come back is to do 4K 60 to YouTube and 720p to Twitch. Maybe even do HDR to YouTube if doable. Go for it. I watched it, but I have an RTX 3060 and it doesn't support AV1. Well, it does support HEVC. And blurry streams isn't really a problem for YouTube to fix. You just gotta send better stuff. Is AV1 hardware encoding more energy efficient than HEVC? I'm gonna say probably not, because based on my big video of showing the encoding capabilities, you get more frames per second in the long run out of HEVC than AV1. Like in terms of like total encoding capacity, which tells me that the HEVC runs more efficiently. I don't measure power draws or anything, so I can't really tell you. That's not what I focus on. You have data for 120 FPS using NVINC AV1 at 8 megabits per second. I don't, just because there's not a use case for it yet. I mean, it can do it. Actually, that's not true. I think during my RTX 4000 series, I showed some 120 FPS stuff. Like, talked about it, but I haven't done hardcore testing for it just because, like I said, there's not really a use case yet. Talking to Rich or Zaymar recently? I've never really talked to Rich one-on-one. Zaymar is no longer talking to anyone publicly. If you've watched any of his Discord and StreamFX drama go down, so I'm good. The stream professor would speak to Twitch like a kind, wise father and still make them cry and promise to change. I doubt that. Are you streaming with the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra right now? No, this is the Sony A7C with a 35mm f1.4 Sigma lens. It's adapted from Canon, which is why the autofocus is whack. I'll switch back after the stream. I was just trying something out. This lens doesn't work with my new Canon camera, so I was trying to find a use for it instead of trying to sell it. Which one is more intense on the RTX 4090, AV1 versus HEVC? You're not going to notice the impact from either. So it doesn't matter. Have you attempted any VR stuff with ARC recently? Nope. I have the original Oculus Rift. I have put maybe 10 hours, 20 hours into it at most. 10 is generous. And I don't own any newer thing, and so there's been nothing for me to test. Saw your vid regarding AMD Adrenaline Relive. Is there a way to record games being played in HDR without it being super dark in the recording? Making sure Windows is in HDR and like maybe turn on the auto HDR mode in Windows 11. Otherwise, like they don't have a toggle for it, and so people have said that it supports HDR and other people have said it hasn't, so I don't know yet. Linus has been talking about VR support for ARC in his 30-day challenge with Luke, so you might want to check that. $5 super chat from Marinex. Your advice has helped me back. Lock in the Earthworks Icon Pro as my streaming mic. Yes. Use Ecamm Live. Respect to the Ecamm Mac people. Icon Pro is such a good mic. Earthworks doing the big work. They got a new mic coming soon. I'm going to talk about soon. I'm a full-time streamer on YouTube. Which camera do you recommend going for Mabrio? If you have the budget, thank you for the super cat. Super cat? I want a super cat. Super chat, Ray Kit. Oh, the autofocus isn't whack anymore because I turned it to manual focus. Duh. I didn't say Zamar stopped developing things. It's not what I said. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Where was I? I'm a full-time streamer on YouTube. Which camera do you... Oh, so if you have the money, Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra or Insta360 Link are kind of the banger ones right now. Otherwise, don't bother upgrading from the Brio. The other ones aren't really much of an upgrade still. I mean, yeah. So excited to see AV1 become real. Yes! We're streaming it to YouTube now! Do you think that if H.265 was royalty-free from the beginning, that a creation AV1 would have been a slower developing pace? I don't even know that it would have existed. Like, half the point of developing AV1 was to make it royalty-free and not have licensing. Like, it was purely a response to H.265 being the solution people wanted like 8 years ago and then being dead on arrival for those reasons. Thank you so much for the super chat, Johnny Fung. You guys are and gals are amazing. Thank you so much for the super chats and for the gifted subs from Blitz. You all are amazing. Thank you so much. This has been a very hectic and busy last week and a half to get this ready, which is part of why the course got delayed. Because I've been working on stuff like this. I preached about AV1 for 3.5 years. Of course I'm going to drop everything to cover it once it comes out. Especially since I got to be the world first to test it and announce it. Oh, that was so cool. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Yeah, but it's been a crazy week and a half working on this, and it's been a horrible overall start to the year, so your all support on this video and right now has been amazing. Thoughts in general on vMix and how it compares to OBS. Super quick summary. It is really, really powerful if you plan on buying pre-existing hardware from like a rep, a predefined workflow, but it is nowhere near as flexible in any capacity on anything as OBS. Even basic things like scene composition is just an utter archaic nightmare on vMix. It's limited on what devices it supports. It has really powerful like NDI, call-in features, tons of stuff like that. Really powerful titler features once you get over the ancient nature of it. And it's really great when you have hardware for it like TriCasters and stuff like that. But trying to use it as an OBS replacement, which I've done multiple times, the ISO recording of being able to record every camera into a separate stream, those things are great. Trying to use it as an OBS replacement doesn't even begin to work. That's my short and sweet version. What's your testing methodology, if possible? I would like to try to get some data. I mean, send the same thing. Thank you for the repeat super chat. Or super sticker. Uncle Tababite. Much, 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 much appreciated. Carcinogen with the raid. 308 viewers. Jesus, dude. What's up, Carsey? Holy balls. Just got an ad for Blue's Clues. Thank you for stopping by. We are talking about the YouTube update to support AV1. The new open source video encoder, and just answering general streaming questions today. Thank you for the raid. Holy balls. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the super chat, Squid. All right, let me catch up on replying to you all real quick. I was answering something, wasn't I? Razer Kiyo Pro ridiculous. Yes, it is so ridiculous that I'm actually, I had them send me more for my studio because I'm replacing most of my real cameras with the Razer Kiyo Pro Ultra. And then I'm actually completely destroying one to mod it and making it the ultimate webcam. We will have that in a video soon. I swear I was responding to something. Was it a Twitch message? Oh yeah, testing methodology. I mean, for your purposes, just stream the same thing in multiple codecs to Twitch, download the VODs, and zoom in and compare them. Carsey was getting their shit tossed in Resident Evil 4 Remake. Hell yeah. Are you the god of streaming? I'm the professor of streaming. I don't know that I want to stoop to calling myself a god yet. That's a little egotistical, but I'm definitely the professor of streaming. Not to be confused with the stream coach. Considering Twitch's current bitrate limit is unofficially 8 megabits per second, would that be enough for 1440p 120? Probably with AV1. Probably. It's going to be pushing it, though, to do 1440p 120. But with AV1, it would work. Thanks to you, I have 3440, 1440 working on both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. Yay! Am I limited by Twitch's low bitrate using slobs? We're going to still stream higher bitrate to YouTube. By connecting to YouTube, you could definitely still send YouTube. Oh, I don't know how their multi-streaming works. You should be able to send separate bitrates, but that may be like a premium paid feature. I am not certain. With current drivers, have you run into any weirdness with ARC during non-gaming type stuff? No. But even like early when Gamers Nexus was complaining about crazy driver issues with ARC, I never really, like I had some, but I didn't have a ton. I had a bunch on the mobile ARC I got in a NUC that I was supposed to review around Techtober that got swept to the side with everything else going on. But with the dedicated GPUs, I never had that many issues. They had tons, I don't know why, other than they had much earlier drivers than me. Please stop using slobs. Yeah. Squid super chat. Already sub on Discord, but wanted to say I've been here for years and expect to be here until you stop content altogether. Thank you so much, Squid. All right, so shouts out real quick here. Squid in the chat with the super chat and stuff like that. I'm going to. This is a standard thing from all the artists I follow on YouTube whenever they do commissions or whatever. The amazing person of Squid sent me a box in July of 2022. With a Game Boy camera related thing for me to try that is really freaking cool and show off in a video, and a tape that I agreed to digitize for them because I have, you know, a high quality tape mastering and digitizing workflow. That was in July. The box is here. I have not opened it because I wanted to not lose everything and keep it committed to the workflow, and I still owe them that commission. That is happening. It's already the end of March, in April. I am incredibly sorry. This is ADHD and life getting in the way at work. There's no excuse, but it is coming back to you. RC dude, I am lost as to what you are asking about the route for. Any idea when I can use my 4080 for Twitch AV1 support? Nope. No clue. I remember Twitch has an AV1 video where it's 1440p, 120, 8 megabits per second. Yes, but that is with a very, very, very slow CPU encoded video feed. It is not live. It is not representative of like GPU encoders. Lesson number 1, never use slobs. Yeah. Every one GPU works just on 40 series for NVIDIA, yes. 30 series does not have the hardware for it. ARC has it. AMD RX 7000 series has it. Someone could write an AV1 encoder in CUDA, but it would probably be much slower. Yeah, that would be mostly pointless. Why am I getting VP9 on YouTube right now? Because that's what YouTube delivers streams in. I covered that in the video. Go watch today's video. The god would be when you invented your own video codec. Yeah, that's not. I'm not smart enough for that. I am not afraid to admit that. Will everyone be able to use AV1 on stream or only top streamers? Everyone. I'm pretty sure as of right now, everyone can do it other than waiting on the OBS build to come out. Do you think there might be a USB encoder like I've got? No, just no. Are we still running a Plex server? Yes. How are Shroud's streams so crazy looking good at 1080p? Yeah, it's just like X264 slower, probably, knowing him. I don't know. Thank you all for everyone who came over from the raid from Carsey's stream. Much, much appreciated. Why not use slobs? It's run by a terrible company, and it's a fork of OBS with a big bloated user interface slapped on top, so inherently it's going to be more resource intensive than OBS Studio. It then gets delayed updates from OBS for a couple little UI features that teach you bad habits. Is the 512 audio Limelight mic worth it for less than $100? Yeah, probably. How often do you actually do streams, EposVox? It depends on what I'm doing, like, in life at the time. During periods like this, every couple days. Most of the year, every couple months. It's an enigma. I've heard you talk about ADHD before. I have it too. Any advice for staying focused? Nope. Stimulants. Brown noise helps a lot. I am just now discovering white noise helps too. Brown noise can help a lot. Really focusing your workspace. Pomodoro, I'm never saying that right, but Pomodoro timers, it doesn't have to be a physical one, but where you just, like, you set down with the goal of, I am going to, like, you tell yourself and you close everything else, I'm going to focus on this thing for like 10, 20 minutes at a time. You will find that whatever in your brain clicks by wanting to achieve that amount of time allows you to keep working, and then you take a break. What I call productive procrastination, which is to do the fun thing like playing 20 minutes of a video game or something first before you do your work, Helps a ton. Don't start your day sitting down, you know, when you're going to do work or whatever, doing the dopamine hit things like watching YouTube videos, adult things, playing video games. Only a minor amount. It's got to be an active thing. Video games are active. Watching videos and things like that is not active, and it will turn you into a zombie. Everyone's ADHD is different. Everyone's neuroses are different. Advice is not universal. These are what I'm learning to work with me. Having only just discovered that I had ADHD, despite thinking it for most of my life, having only being diagnosed with it in January of last year. Where did the name EposVox come from? When I started YouTube, I had a broken snowball mic, and most people on YouTube had squeaky voices, and my voice was very impressive, and the broken snowball mic made it a lot more bassy, because I had never heard of a high-pass filter like I have on now, and so I came across sounding like the golden voice guy, and it is Latin for epic voice, but it's technically the Latin would be Vox Epos. I used to do some announcery voiceover stuff. I don't these days, and at this point I'm an hour and a half into a stream, so my voice is shot, but that's fine. I don't drink tea or anything, so I don't really preserve it well. At some point, I'm going to get coaching, but... yeah, the Game Boy camera thing that Squid sent me is one of either, like, 3 or 5 in the entire world. Which is why I left it in the box and haven't opened the box, so I do not, like, lose it or anything. Is Prism any good as an alternative? It started out as an OBS fork. I haven't looked at their desktop app much. Their mobile app is amazing. I have not looked at their desktop app much. Have you seen any news or rumblings of an HDMI capture card that can do 4K 120? Nope. I wish. Like, even unofficially, like, NDA'd, like, I haven't. It sucks. Isn't Slobs owned by Logitech? Well, yeah, but Streamlabs as a company is terrible. There was a leak roadmap that showed Intel releasing more low-end GPUs later this year. Well, that's boring. I never wanted to use slobs, but after struggling forever to get OBS to work exactly how I wanted, I figured out I tried slobs and everything was just so easy. Now I'm stuck. That's unfortunate. I feel active watching this video. I have a Plex question. What do you do about older DVD rips that have black bars around... Black bars? Am I Irish? That was a terrible accent. I can't do accents. I can't actually voice act. I can only voice over. The black bars on all 4 sides. Handbrake has an auto crop option that should take care of them. Digging the fuller beard. Thank you. It is still... So the issue with my facial hair and my hair in general is that it is super curly and then it grows in... It's actually really patchy under here, but it grows in, and because of the curliness, it's actually a lot thinner, which sucks for video because whenever the light's shining through it, you see my entire chin outline, which looks kind of weird because it's so curly and spaced out. But if it wasn't curly, it'd probably be way thinner. And actually the length is significantly longer than it actually is if I like straightened it somehow. I have no clue what I'm doing with facial hair. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I'm just gonna keep at it for now, and maybe I'll turn it into a Viking beard. I don't really know how to style it to my tastes. I am a streaming noob for recording our church stream on Facebook. Am I a streaming nude for... Nude? Am I a stream... It is late. Is it a problem to stream Facebook over Wi-Fi using an iPad? No, use what you got. Audio-wise, it probably sounds terrible, so... I'm gonna make the comment that you're not gonna appreciate that most people don't really care about church broadcasts, but they're the old people that really, really care. But they don't really need to hear it, but like... Audio-wise, it's gonna be a problem. Overall, like, conceptually, nothing wrong with it. Thank you for the bits! Is there a best way to improve audio output latency with software mixes like Voicemeeter? Banana. Yeah, the best way is to either get a faster CPU with like higher clocks, not clocks, IPC, instructions per cycle, and lower, like faster RAM speeds, or to just not use that kind of software. Gotta get beard braids. Yeah, like, I don't know if I want to do like 2 out here or something. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen people dye it. I don't think that would look good. Yeah, I'm nervous about having to moisturize stuff under my beard because I know that's not going to go well. All right, catching up with the YouTube chat real quick. I feel like I missed a couple. Should I rush out and get an Intel art card or wait a little more info? That choice is yours. I haven't gotten to do a ton of dual GPU testing yet. I will say the drivers every other couple updates kind of conflict with the like either the drivers themselves or the encoder detection in OBS keeps getting triggered weird. So like if you have an ARC with a RTX card or whatever, sometimes it doesn't detect the AV1 encoder on the ARC card. But overall, it's fine. Waiting, I mean, it benefits you if you want to wait, but it doesn't really, like, there's not much more to discover at this point. Question, as I'm looking to use many cameras throughout my home for streams, would you recommend NDI? And if so, what are some optimizations for it? All right, so yes, if you have a big multicam setup, I don't really have anything set up in mind to show anything, which is unfortunate. That one's off. That one's off. Why are none of these working? Well, you can see my PTZ cam, which has been reset due to a power outage, so you see my ceiling. I have a ton of cameras set up like this. Usually they work, but I didn't plan on using them for this stream. NDI would be the way to go. So you can get broadcast points. Technically, the app Caffeine now supports NDI encoding on Raspberry Pis, but it's going to be very, like 720p maybe. Performance is not going to be great. What was I going to say? Yeah, NDI would be the way to go, either with those computers or Bird Dog endpoints, something like that. NewTek has their own, the Connect Spark. That would be the way to go. For optimization, you kind of want your own dedicated switch for them. And that gets messy. Mine was a nightmare to set up. But that's kind of the optimization. If you're doing wireless with like the wireless Connect Spark and things like that, then there's not really much optimization you can do. Just try to not have them, like make sure they're on separate scenes so they're not all active at once and you're not pulling all that data in at once. With the Bird Dog stuff, you can actually set up a switcher node within the Bird Dog software. So you switch in the software and then you're only ever streaming one endpoint to your computer, which saves on bandwidth to your computer and like stream processing, but I brute force it, so I don't know if I have the answer. I have the exact same problem with facial hair that you do, grows heavier along the chin. Yeah, like I don't want to be a neckbeard, but all of my hair is below here. Like I see some people who like trim their line like very clearly under here. Like so much my hair is here and it gets patchy up here, which I was always told because I have like 1/16 Native American in me, but that's like a whole meme now. So I don't know if that's true, but like it's very noticeable going up in lineage on my dad's side through the men, like more and more patchy and less bearded, which is theoretically a Native American trait in some lineage, but I'm not going to be that person, but that is what has been blamed on it. And then I get these weird Wolverine patches here. But yeah, Carsey, you and I have basically like very similar hair, as I have discovered recently whenever we met in person. Yeah, I just need to let it grow long. Yeah. Isn't there a new OBS add-on that replaces NDI and fixes the audio sync issue? I mean, there's OBS teleport, but that's only for OBS. That's not for a bunch of cameras. And it's not, like, it's a great foolproof basic solution, but it uses JPEG encoding. It has none of the features of NDI. Like, for people who want NDI, it's not a replacement for NDI. Great content as always. Quick cue. Where did my chat go? If adding an A380 card to a rig with NVIDIA, would you just install the ARC drivers as you... Yes, theoretically that should be all you need. Next Invoke AI video. Honestly, I just got access to Adobe Firefly and Runway Gen 1 and stuff, so Invoke AI is kind of low on the list, but I will get back to it. Currently my Mac isn't even plugged in. I have found better support for OBS in the OBS Discord than Slobs in the Slobs Discord. Yup. Thought on PS5 finally having Discord. Yay! We are so close to universal in-game playing and communicating. Does A380 work with PCIe 3? I see no reason it wouldn't. Actually, yeah, it does. You want rebar, though. Hey, Cujo, link backing track in the Discord. I found NDI, even with NDI tools, is not as smooth as clear as teleport. Then you're having some bandwidth limitations there. Especially, well, there's also the NDI Screen Capture HX app, which uses NVINC HEVC, I think? OBS teleport, yeah, but it's very heavy resource-wise, yeah. You have two choices, Beacon mic with the Stream Deck Plus for the Wave software, or Wave XLR and Wave DX. I can't believe I'm talking about Beacon again. 100% Wave XLR and Wave DX. Wave DX isn't my favorite mic. $100. I'm not sure well, I'm not sure I'd recommend anything in its place, I guess. That's tough. But I could not imagine wanting to have the Beacon drivers interacting with the Wave drive. Like, it's just going to be a bad time. They have done very little development on it. Are you streaming with AV1 now or is it VP9? I am sending AV1 to YouTube. As I stated in my video, YouTube delivers VP9 to you. What mixing board do you use to handle your audio XLR stuff? At the moment, I'm just using the Wave XLR. I was using this mixer, which has been like my favorite thing, the Soundcraft Signature 12 MTK. This came out, well, it came out a lot longer, but like I found it before the Go XLR came out. It was $500. The Go XLR was about $500. Has way more inputs, but has the USB multitrack capability that no other mixer really has. It has served me great since 2018, but after rebooting my computer one day, not even a power surge or anything, after rebooting my computer one day, the USB board went out. So I got to send it up to the good people over at Sweetwater at some point when I have money and get them to repair it. And that was a crucial part of my workflow for me to introduce my wireless labs so I could do stuff in the studio finally. It was really horrible timing. So currently I have, this is the WA14 warm audio condenser mic run into the WA12 Mark II mic pre run into the Wave XLR. And that is all my audio. Well, I have my speakers coming out of it. It worked perfectly fine 24/7 since 2018 and then just suddenly died. It's already 1 a.m. I was going to do other stuff today. Oh well. I'm half Italian, 1/4 French Canadian, 1/4 European mutt, and whenever the dysphoric apathy sets in, I stop shaving my beard. I look like that. Yeah. Yeah. Question in video, you talk about adding a second card. Does that reduce the PCIe lanes? On modern platforms, it should be fine. On older platforms from the time of my past video from 3 years ago, you're still going to have a hard time. Although I will say the A380 is only PCIe 8X, so it's already a little advantageous there. You think AV1 encoding will come to PS5 Pro or PS6? I doubt it. We're not going to see good AV1 encoding on like mobile platforms or even iGPUs for a long time, so. Have you tried the Roland Bridge cast? No, not yet. Make an NDI equivalent plugin video. There's still not much really to cover from the last time I've covered NDI. I do have some more coverage planned, and I mean, maybe it's time to talk about it again just because that's how views work, but I mean, the only equivalent plugin is OBS Teleport, which I just made that video last year. 11, okay, it's almost been exactly a year. It's been 11 months, but like nothing has changed. So that would be the video to watch. It talks about the differences, and which I'd recommend. I didn't expect y'all to hang out this long. This is freaking awesome. I still got a lot of Carsey's viewers. We got some here. Hell yeah. Running combination of software mixing, Revelator IO44, Behringer Zenix. I kind of miss my Behringer at this point. The solo headphone mix is a feature I desperately miss on the Soundcraft mixer. Saw the Sunkist can. Have you tried Sunkist Cherry Limeade? I only drink orange. I am super picky about drinks. I drink like 2 drinks. I drink water. I drink Sprite. I don't know that I like Starry. I liked Sierra Mist. I did not like Mist Twist. I like Sunkist Orange. And I drink water. Used Rodecaster 2 Pro. Very problematic thing. That's unfortunate. What do you use for multiple guests? Video Ninja? Ping. Ping.gg. This would be the moment for Theo to still be here. We had the creator of it, or whatever, before. But I use it for all of my multi-stream stuff whenever I do jam-packed or streamer news and stuff. Super great service. I used to use Riverside, and I tried using like some NDI stuff, and I used to use Skype NDI when Skype was still tolerable to use, but Pinga's way more convenient. No color stains on your teeth. Yeah, I don't drink with my teeth, and I brush my teeth. I know it's not that simple for everybody. I'm not trying to be like a dick to people who do. I'm just... Most of the people I talk to who have really stained up teeth really just overdid it or didn't take care of them. I know that's not going to be everyone. Oh man, nice board, ding. Does AV1 still have options like B-frames? I'm pretty sure B-frame is... Oh, Sprite and clear liquids doesn't stain. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Sorry. So AV1 does not support B-frames, and I'm pretty sure that is a patented like tech that is exclusive to the MPEG LA consortium that runs HEVC and H.264 and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a patented feature, so AV1 can't support it. If I understand right. I don't understand a lot of those more niche things. There was a time when OBS broke NDI with an update. Yeah, the plugin updated. It supports it now. A Soundcraft Notepad 12FX I use. That sounds great. Saw new videos. Cool to see him commenting and being in the video. Well, welcome. Is A770 overkill for streaming PC? So, I actually wanted to answer this. Which GPU should you choose for a streaming PC from the Arc lineup? Because it's the budget option. RTX cards would be kind of overkill for a streaming PC. Which one should you choose for your streaming PC? If you are just doing basic like 1080p, 1440p streams, not a ton of graphics, just like gameplay and things like that, A380 is all you need. Absolutely. It will encode, 4K and all that stuff. The only scenario I would see you going with, or the reason I'm going with in my streaming PC with Threadripper Pro, the reason I'm going to use the A750 or A770 is for the VRAM and the processing power a little bit. Because encoding-wise, A380 is going to perform mostly identically to the A750 and A770. Where your performance difference will be in is the compositing and scene rendering with all your graphics and all this stuff. You may have heard recently Dan from Linus Media Group talking about upping their WAN show PC to use like a Quadro with 16 gigs of VRAM and all that stuff. That is because when you have all these sources and visuals and live graphics and a bunch of cameras running at once, all those get composited together, and they get buffered into VRAM, especially with more advanced streaming software like Touch Designer and vMix and stuff like that. They get buffered into VRAM, and they use a lot of that GPU processing power. And processing a big 4K canvas or doing things at 4K with this many graphics, you need the extra VRAM, and you want the extra processing power. Cujo's giving us a sad face because he just bought an A380. Cujo, for what you do, you are going to be just fine. For most basic streams, A380, totally fine, and I used it as my dedicated capture rig for a while. But when you're doing stuff like this, I mean, this isn't even advanced, but, big motion stuff, A750, A770 is the way to go. If I can get ASRock A380 for 120, go for it. Yes, affiliate link in the description. You should use that. Cujo's also been posting it in chat. What camera would you recommend for an aquarium cam? You're using 10 gigabytes of VRAM right now, which is what more than... Am I? I'm using 32 gigabytes. I don't know why. OBS has a memory leak. Something has a memory leak. Because I am using... My OBS memory usage started at 16 gigabytes when I started streaming and has climbed up to 32 gigabytes. But I'm not aware of anything. Yeah, you can see here, OBS is using 32 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know what is buffering to RAM to use that RAM. I don't know if it's a memory leak, if I have a scene that's just decoding eternally to RAM. I can't explain that one. That one's not normal behavior. But VRAM rise, yeah, I'm sitting around 10.3 gigabytes, and I don't have all my scenes buffered or anything. But yeah, I'm using about 10 gigabytes of VRAM. I don't know why OBS is memory leaking into RAM. I feel like it's like buffering a recording to RAM or something, because my stream and recording are about 17 gigs each, which adds up almost to 32 gigs. So I don't know what's happening, but that's not normal behavior. This is a dev build that's completely untested and unsupported. Okay, Matt. Could be the browser pages, but they're not. Yeah, we'll dive into my logs for that later. But VRAM rise for a basic 4K scene like this, about 10 gigabytes of VRAM. Once you add in a bunch of graphics and moving elements, you're gonna need a little bit more. Which is why my in the future, when I switch to my all AMD desktop setup, my streaming rig will have the A770 or A750. You also need extra, oh yeah, the browser pages were separate processes. You will need extra processing power on the graphics card for that stuff too. Okay, aquarium cam. I don't really have any specific recommendations. What you will want is some sort of shroud to help block reflections or a polarizer filter to help block reflections. You will kind of need both. And then you'll want to set it to manual focus. Other than that, I don't know that I recommend any specific camera. I've never done that. I'm just thinking about shooting stuff through glass in general. Practical example, I pretty heavily taxed my 3090 with my OBS overlay to the point that before I found out Zen 2's PCIe 4 limitation was bugged, I had IPC issues. Yes, I've done similar things. Less of an issue on 4000 series, but I've maxed out 3090 for crazy stuff. Is bitrate the only difference we get with advantage with H.265 AV1? I mean, bitrate efficiency is the only real advantage between codecs that matters for these purposes in the first place. But if Twitch gets AV1, would it be much better at lossless quality? Yeah, I talked about that at the start of the stream. You can rewind or watch during the VOD. I explained it in detail. But yeah, if Twitch gets AV1 support and it works as everything does now, they will need to introduce a transcoding step for all the viewers that don't have AV1 decode support. But playback and source quality would look better at the same bitrate than YouTube. But on YouTube, you can support up to like 51 megs per second. So, but yeah, for like a 6 meg AV1 stream, Twitch at source quality would look somewhat better than YouTube. We'll see if it matters, but objectively, because it doesn't re-encode, it would look better. Get good Teabag Society driven 225 miles so far, still driving. Jeez, dude. Good drive. Glad you're awake. You just put your Twitch link in the YouTube subscription so you can watch a worse quality stream? Nah, I'm good. All right. Which processor to choose for streaming PC? i5 or Ryzen 5 or higher. IMO. You can get away with less if you go budget. You don't need a dedicated GPU, but so I would get something with an iGPU. I'm actually building a refurbished server rig based on Rome Epic with A770 and 128 gigabytes of RAM. Yes! God, Epic's so good. Any recommendations for a dynamic mic interface combo for around $400? Procaster Go XLR Mini seem like a good option. That is a great option. Like, I don't even want to suggest anything else. Especially for that price. Like, if it was $400 for just the mic, I'd say get like the Ethos from Earthworks. It's not dynamic, but it's effectively dynamic. Like, background sound wise. But Procaster Go XLR Mini would be a fantastic combination. You know if it's a bad idea to use 2 GPUs on one PC. If you have a PC older than 2020, yes. If you have a Intel 12th or 13th gen or Ryzen 5000 or 7000, you're gonna have a lot better time with it. Because you got a lot more lanes and slots to work with. Epic is cheap AF here. Don't know why one shop sells them lower than MSRP in the States, and I'm in Australia. That's wild. I fly FPV drones, and the new DJI O3 uses H.265 codec instead of H.264. Yeah, I mean, most cameras these days shoot H.265. It's pretty great if you're not, you know, recording raw. Your boy just bought that A750 from your link. Yes! Oh, my link was for the A750, not the A380. Whatever, you can get it from there. Honestly, I don't see AV1 coming to cameras for a while. It'll take a while for hardware to get that efficient. So if I want to record gameplay separately on the second PC with the 3090 Ti, should I still run with Shadowplay on the gaming PC? I mean, if you're doing all of your recording on the second PC, why would you run Shadowplay on the gaming PC? Like, what is Shadowplay doing then? Like, you can still use it for clips, absolutely. Like, if you want to record highlights or whatever. Are you saying I would get good performance if I put my 3080 in with my 4080 now that I have a 13900K? If you have like a Z690 or whatever motherboard, as long as you have the lane layout, you got to test it, but like you might. There would be minimal point to that. You're not going to gain any stream performance doing it that way. You're actually going to lose it because sharing over different GPUs is worse performing than single GPU. But like, if we're talking like a 4080 and an ARC card, or well, even that, there's no point because you have AV1 on the 4080. There's no advantage to a 4080 and a 3080 together. But like in general, if you had a use for dual GPU on most 13900K supporting platforms, you'd probably be okay. So the RK380 is capable of AV1 too? Yep. Covered it in today's video. Go watch it if you missed it. Audio question. For USB mic, do you set the output level in Windows and sound properties to its max? It depends on your device. Some devices in Windows, the max is actually plus 30 dB. You do not want that. You want 0 dB. There's no real advantage to setting less. You ever use PreSonus Ultimate Control V4? I do. I still have the Revelator dynamic mic in my house gaming setup. So I don't know about V4 specifically, but I still use it in there. It has like an OBS plugin and stuff now too, which I have not messed with the plugin. A 4080, 3080 is a really good combo if you're really cold. Yeah. My overclocked 12900KF can't even encode SVT AV1 in real time at decent quality. Yeah. CPU AV1 coding is rough. The old AVX 512 supporting processors apparently have an easier time with it. So does Ryzen 7000, I think. Yeah. I guess I forgot to mention that. Here, let me show you something. For USB mics and stuff like that. In your sound settings, scroll down, go to more sound settings. That's going to pop up the old Windows XP era menu. Go to your device, go to properties, under levels. If you don't see dB, wow, mine is boosted? No wonder. That explains some stuff. See, that's why you figured that out. Right click, you can switch between percentage and decibels. It's really misleading because in percentage it's 0. That's 100. But if you right click and go to decibels, you want 0 dB. You don't want 100 at plus 75 dB. What the heck? Always check this setting. Always check this setting. Windows is incredibly obtuse at so many things. I have no clue why these default to. And see, this one, 0 dB is 100%. It makes no goddamn sense. And with some of the PreSonus Revelator stuff, the main mic track keeps getting boosted automatically by Windows to like plus 50 dB, and it's always clipping. It's really annoying. So I have to use the like sub mixes for Discord. It's so dumb. But that's Windows' fault mostly, not PreSonus. Have you used ShareX? I use it for screen recording. It's really good at 15 FPS. Doesn't slow my machine down like OBS does. However, audio is delayed like 2-3 seconds. I don't use it for screen recording, so I have no idea about the sync. It probably does that because some way that it buffers it. I only use it for screenshots and occasional GIFs, but rarely GIFs. For Wave 1, should I set the gain on a God of Software 100% in Windows, digital gain in OBS? Yeah, so here's how I do it in Wave, since I'm using that right now. Again, I have my mic plugged in via XLR to an analog preamp that has like analog transformers, and I'm specifically overdriving it for that analog, like, crunch. It's not hard though. And then in Elgato Wave, so what you do is you turn off clip guard, and then you set your gain so that you're, over here somewhere. But you want clip guard turned off so that you can see it, because otherwise clip guard's never going to let you clip. Turn on clip guard, save it to hardware. Then you come over here, and I do all my processing these days in the Wavelink app with the new VST support. So I have, you can't really see that. I have a compressor, which is just a -9 to -10 threshold, 3.8 to 1-ish. I have a little bit of makeup gain And then I have my EQ with the Elgato EQ. The Elgato EQ, it's only VST3, so it can't work natively in OBS, but it is the best thing in the world. I still have to make a video on this because it has all those labels for what your frequencies are. It is incredible. So I've got low shelf for the warmth, high pass to get rid of the boominess, cut some boominess here, cut the boxiness, cut the nasaliness, presence boost, and then I have a notch. They don't actually support a notch filter, but I've made my own notch for my CRT wine. I don't know if it actually helps. And then I have a limiter added just in case. That limits to -2 dB here. And then I'm just sending the whole Elgato mix to OBS. OBS only uses VST2? Yeah. This seems like good short content. Someone remind me. Actually, I had Notion open. Windows audio fix. Short. Is this AV1? Yes, I am streaming AV1 to YouTube. You are getting VP9 back. Any guess when 90, 120 FPS streaming may be possible? On YouTube? It's possible now on Twitch. You just don't have enough bitrate for it other than at 720p. On YouTube, I wouldn't expect anything but 120 if they ever do it. I don't know that they'll ever do it. It's not a standard video format. There's minimal reason to support it as a video platform. But if they do it, it's going to be the standard of 120. It's not going to be arbitrary formats at like 90. This is not an official answer. This is my assumption, but my professional opinion would be that's how it happens. VST3 and OBS being worked on by a bounty. Freak, yeah. I've done so much processing to get my mic to sound softer. It was boosted in Windows the whole time. RIP! Classic sound control panel equals best sound control panel. You're not wrong. Have you tried adding an external preamp to Go XLR? There would be no point. Would that make sense considering the Rode Procaster 2 exists? I mean, it has nothing to do with the Rode Procaster 2, but it would still have no point. Sorry for the long one. If all sources are captured in OBS or 1440p or 4K, would you leave source resolution on default and let OBS downscale it? Like if you're streaming to 1080p? For me, yes, I would canvas size 1440p. That way you can record at 1440p whenever you want and then just scale down to 1080 or scale down to edit in 1080. And if you don't plan on doing that now, but you want to do it later in the future, I would still do it. And then you set the scale resolution in the video tab to 1080, and then you can just set that back to 1440p first. The downside of doing it the other way, which would be to set OBS to 1080p by default, is that if you ever go to increase it, you have to resize your entire layout, every single scene. I hope at some point, I don't know how, but they could add some sort of auto feature to do that. But if you set it to 1080 in base resolution and then you want to increase it later, you have to resize everything. Whereas if you do 1440p and then you scale here to 1080, you don't got to resize anything when you want to go back to 1440p. I do have a video on this. It's an older one, but it's a gem. I will link it in the chat. Highly recommended viewing. And again, will be covered in the OBS Masterclass. Sign up at streamtheory.gg. My voice is completely going out, ladies and gentlemen. It is. We have passed the 2-hour mark for what was supposed to be a 45-minute to 1-hour stream. We're going to keep going a little bit longer because y'all are still here. Jesus. Carsey's switched platforms. Gone over to the dark side. Going to be totally sweet to get rid of the 2080 Super in my stream rig. Sell that shit. Is that AV1 add-on in the Windows Store required for AV1 viewing? Yes! I need to make a short for this too. Let me write that down. Short. Windows AV1 add-on. So if you want to watch AV1 content in Windows with hardware decoding, I think CPU decoding wouldn't require this. You need to go to the Microsoft Store, search AV1, and get the AV1 video extension. It's similar to HEVC was required, except this one's free. Download it. It'll activate for all your Windows accounts, but you need to do it on every PC. I think if you sign up like in a new Windows install, it will enable it by default. But you will need that to get the best experience. I hope since it is free and open source that they can find some way to just enable that by default, but pretty sure you need that. Can you play any FPS game now? What's the bitrate and resolution you are streaming? I don't have any games on this computer because it's my editing rig and it's Threadripper and it games like ass. But I could. What's the bitrate resolution you're streaming? I'm sending 4K 30 at 20 megs per second AV1 to YouTube. It is clamping it down, I'm pretty sure, to 1440p because I chose the low latency option. So that's really unfortunate, but the VOD should be 4K. I think. RTX 4090 getting overloaded by 2K stream and recording, both H.265 encoder setting using over 60-70% of encoders. Was AV1 more efficient? It's not more efficient, but you shouldn't be having those issues, especially because 60-70% is not using up your whole encoder. I'd post in the OBS forums or in my Discord, or OBS Discord or my Discord with some logs and stuff. There's a fix somewhere in your settings or something. Yeah, had to rebuild your entire scene collection as a VTuber. That was really painful. Yikes, yes. Heck yeah, thanks. Was always curious if changed individual sources down versus leaving them high res. We'll leave them high res. Yes. But EposVox, I don't have a Microsoft Store in Windows 95. Well, have you encountered any bottlenecks using your 3975WX with your 4090? Yes. It's not been a great experience, honestly. Ever since I added the 4090, I had a ton of DPC audio latency, and it's completely ruined the platform for me to the extent that I am pretty sure I'm switching to Ryzen 7000 soon. I'm getting an all AMD rig from AMD. And so I'm switching to all AMD. Well, the Threadripper's AMD, but I'm switching down to a consumer platform because I'm having so many audio issues that it's like trashing my videos. It's trashing recordings and streams all the time. It's not been fun. And it got worse. I had the problem off and on prior to getting the 4090, but it's worse with the 4090. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't know why. But I definitely feel the workstation platform isn't great for audio work in real time, which is unfortunate because I specifically switched to this for all the extra power it could offer me. But I am imagining that with a good enough config, a 7950X or 7900X 3D or whatever is going to do fine. And this rig will be a capture rig. I'm hoping with a Windows reinstall and removing half the stuff from it and throwing a, a less power intensive ARC card in here instead of a 4090, it'll handle audio well enough to be my dedicated streaming PC, to handle all of that, all my NDI sources and everything else. So I have a dedicated capture rig for all my PCs. Because whenever I stream, if you've ever watched it, my game streams are from my test bench over here. These streams are here, and managing like StreamerBot, Atom, any sort of involved streaming setup is like impossible when you're constantly switching PCs. So I want to unify the workflow, and I'm hoping that will do it. And yes, Simba is also pointing out that it seems like the 4090 causes audio issues somehow. I don't know if it's the driver. I don't know. I did also notice using the 4090 plus the Stream Deck Plus, which adds in the Wave drivers and stuff, got even worse. Now, I'm using the Wave XLR now without it, and I don't have the issue right now, but playing back videos, I get cracks and pops and stuff all the time, and rendering videos in Resolve, I have so many audio issues. Maybe it's getting confused with all the threads. I didn't have the issue with my 3970X. Which is the same CPU, just with less lanes. But core-wise, it's the same. But I also didn't have a 4090 on it. So I don't think it's core-wise. I have tons of mics over multiple PCs. All the mics were boosted in Windows. I just thought I had a really harsh voice. We're discovering voice changes, ladies and gentlemen. All right, last few questions here as we wrap this up. And then if I have any voice left, I want to get to a rant that I had planned an hour ago, I guess now. Maybe more. Do you think hardware encoders like Blackmagic or other brands accept high refresh rate like AverMedia Capture, and would the quality ever perform better? So those hardware encoders are usually quite poor quality compared to even graphics cards encoders these days. That's why I made a joke in one of the source streams for today's video, if you go back and watch it. Even like high-end broadcasts, like the Overwatch League early on when they were pushing 1080p to Twitch and stuff, they were using those like industry level hardware encoders. And it looked horrible. And we got to the point where like 1 megabit per second AV1 at 1440p or 4K basically looked like those Overwatch streams at 6 megs per second. Those kinds of encoders are not usually very good quality. Now, there are good high quality FPGAs from companies like Xilinx and stuff, but they're not usually what you see in like an ATEM Mini Pro or something like that. And no, they rarely, those are always going to stick to like actual video standards, which are not going to be high refresh rates and things like that. So is there going to be a way to encode AV1 on the CPU? Yep, I showed it a bunch of times already. It's literally in the video, you can see it. You can use the SVT or AOM software encoders, but it's not going to run very well. Like, they're very hard to run real time, so good luck. We tried DaVinci with Arc at all. I'm fairly certain I covered it in my review. It's been 8 months. I don't remember. Performance will be better from wherever it was then. Have you tried setting the RTX 4090 to PCI 3 instead of 4? I feel like I did at one point, but I don't know if I have. I'll try it at some point. NVIDIA GPU plus various AMD hardware seem to have major DPC jitter issues. Interesting. That's weird. Check out the NVIDIA L40 for maybe a streaming server. Has 3 NVDEC, 3 NVINC. I feel like someone told me about that a while back ago. Oh, it's the data center card. Yeah, I mean, good luck with drivers and like OBS support. Nah, I don't think it'll work well. You'd be better off with the Quadro. Well, the tier of cards formerly known as Quadros. I would kill for my editing workstation to have a 48 gig RTX 6000. It's not a 6000 now. This generation, I think, is just RTX 6000. I think. Their naming scheme is absolutely insane. Your 2070 does not have a hardware AV1 encoder. The OBS update will work with RTX 40 series, which is the only NVIDIA cards to have AV1 encoders, and Intel Arc. AMD support will come at some point soon-ish, TM. Is there a way to tell how much less I can record with AV1 compared to my VBR 80K bitrate 1440p? By trying it out. There's no, like, math for it. Alright. Before I lose my voice, we are already nearly 2.5 hours in here. I want to pull up a Twitter thread I posted today and answer some questions from earlier in the stream about streaming platforms and whether Discord could be the new Twitch and stuff like that. And then we're going to end today's stream. It's rant time. Let me get a drink of water. My voice is almost gone. Where is my thread? Okay, so I'm going to link this thread in the chats for those who want to read along, I guess. So if you're unaware, there's a new streaming platform called Kick, which a lot of streamers are flocking to because it has higher revenue splits with streamers or something. But it's also ran by very terrible people who do and say very terrible things. And also ran by a gambling platform. And so the original big streamers that switched to it switched because they wanted to gamble on stream and abuse children into gambling and making them money and pyramid schemes and all that bullshit. And generally everyone that was the face of it originally are terrible people. So there's obviously some value judgments at question of switching to it in the first place. But the motivating factor that people think that they switched for was for revenue splits. I'm going to tell you that that's not actually the case. But I'm going to first contextualize the discussion we're going to have within the context of the question that someone asked earlier, which is, do you think Discord could eventually be the new Twitch with all the features that they get? Because Discord supported AV1 streaming before YouTube. Discord has very low latency video. It has a lot of cool features, but what it lacks is discovery, along with some things you'd expect from a public platform. I think if a streamer is in the right mindset, and we can maybe go into the detail of that, Discord could already be a Twitch replacement for a lot of people, or at least a supplemental split time thing. I think with added discovery features, Discord could be a Twitch replacement because Discord has such a huge install base. If people go there looking for streams, it would be huge. However, people who jump ship between streaming platforms looking for what they think they're going to get from it are always making the mistake. And we're just going to go through my thread as I explain it, just for those who read visually or, can't listen to everything at the same time. Yeah, Discord already has premium tier subs. You can go sub on my Discord and I get a higher revenue split than any streaming platform. And I do have alerts I'm going to be using once I start streaming more specifically for that had a wonderful user by the name of a Gizmo build specifically for me with a Python bot, because it's not a supported alert at the moment. Every time streamers switch to platforms, I have seen, I'm not going to name any names because I don't want to call anyone out, but I am very disappointed in the number of streamer friends I have that laughed at all the bad things that were happening by the people that, are the face of Kick and thought it was bad. And then were like, but a higher revenue split. I'm going to go check it out. And then they talk about thriving there when they've been there less than a week. And they're having all of this like dopamine hit, serotonin reaction from the new car smell of it. But what happens, it actually comes down to three things. They're shedding their entire public audience. We saw this when a lot of people got Facebook streaming contracts. They went over to Facebook streaming. They had none of their regular viewers. They dropped to like a fraction of a % of their regular viewers. And they're like, wow, it's a lot nicer here. The community's so cool. Everyone's better here. It's not that people on the platform are better. It's that you got rid of everyone else because no one's going to that site other than your hardcore fans. So you have shed off your entire public audience of randos, of people who say shit that you don't want to hear from, which is most of the people on the internet, and you're only engaging with your core dedicated fans. Second is that they are making a quick buck, which is very rewarding feeling because those dedicated fans are jumping to pay you over there to make it more exciting and connect with you because they have a more intimate room with you at the moment, and because there are short-lived better terms on whatever new platform, like Facebook's contracts that don't exist, and now Facebook Gaming is going away entirely, like Mixer, like Kick at the moment, those kinds of things. It is a short-lived thing, but they are making some money for it, so it makes them feel better. Thirdly is this universal dopamine hit of they're trying something quote-unquote new, and it's going well, so they feel awesome, they feel successful, they're trying out a new thing that they think it's new, and it feels good to succeed at it because the new thing is exactly the same as the old thing. Kick is a clone of Twitch using Twitch's backend for their backend. It's the same thing. They're not doing anything new, but it feels like they're doing something new. They're successful at it because they literally just brought their existing success to the new website. However, you could have this feeling, those three things, you could have them literally all of the time in your existing career on whatever platform, or all of the platforms, should you choose, if you just got out of the Twitch, I gotta grind 24/7 mindset that everyone gets stuck in. Everyone wants more money. Everyone wants to stream less. Everyone wants to not be stuck in a specific game or a specific format or whatever. And streamers, I am always gonna be hyperbolic about this, but streamers are some of them whiniest, like most insecure type of freelancer, independent creator, solo business I've ever seen, not entirely of their own fault, but because that's the nature of streaming and they are stuck in this trap. However, if they broke out of that mindset, that wouldn't be required. All they're doing are the steps that people like me, people like other people that give stream advice, tell you to do to run a more sustainable business. And it's what smaller streamers, who don't stream full-time or who YouTube and stream together, do all the time anyway. And that's to spend any amount of time structuring your streams, building stream schedules, building out time and events to engage with your core community, to do sub-only events, to do game nights, to do paid access workshops, to do Discord-only streams, because we were just talking about Discord, to really engage with that community, only fan-only streams if that's your thing, or more private, events where you're engaging with that core fan base that just followed you to a new site. Those are the people that you've not been delivering to, that you should capitalize on more. Not monetarily necessarily, just engagement, communication, those kinds of things. You should also create better incentives for people to subscribe to you or give you money if you need money beyond, I have a sub goal of 200 subs, number go up, give me the monies. Because that's not compelling. What are you talking about with OBS 29.2? That's not a thing right now. 29.1 isn't out. Anyway. So you do that, you build up these things, you put in a little bit of effort, and you use that momentum and that positive feedback loop to keep creating new shows, new formats, try new things, try new games, try to cook on stream, try to go on a date on stream, all those different things. And you see some of the top streamers do this. Ludwig is the big one who does this. He does all sorts of crazy stuff on stream and even hosted one of the big tournaments on stream. He didn't start out big. He did these things. He built structure. He figured this out ahead of so many people. But if you do this, you get the more money. You get to engage with those core fans that you really like, that are a lot less toxic than the randos on stream. And you get that positive feel-good dopamine hit by trying new things and being successful at them. This seems super freaking obvious because these are the same streamers that spend all of their time complaining and complaining that they have to stream X game. I have to stream Fortnite. I have to stream Call of Duty. I have to stream Apex, or else I don't get viewers. And yet they're totally happy going to a new site where they don't get those same viewers. That's the thing. You're making yourself beholden to those rando viewers. The core fans that move with you from one platform to another, those are your core audience members. Those are your actual, like, that's your viewership, your market. Those are your true fans. Everyone else that only shows up for a specific game, everyone else that only shows up for, certain times, those aren't your viewers. Those are the game's viewers. Those are the people there just for the games. And it's totally fine to play a specific game sometimes to get those viewers, to leverage an event, whatever, to get more viewers. That's called tentpole programming for, going on, leveraging an event to get more viewers. And then you convert over time a small percentage of those viewers at each event or, trending thing into dedicated fans. And that's how you build up your dedicated fan base in the first place. That is how it works. However, streamers so frequently just completely forget that those extra viewers that only show up for X aren't your own viewers, and they feel trapped and beholden to them. That freeing feeling of going to another platform, bringing that core 100, 200 at most, like 50, 10, however big or small it is, core group of fans over to that new platform, you could have that feeling by just doing sub only or private or other platform streams where you truly engage with and build that sense of community with your viewers. If you are relying on switching platforms to a new platform to build that sense of community, that's lazy. That is your fault. The platform is not giving you anything. The platform is not a better place for you to build or engage that community. You just never bothered to do it. And you never took the time to, or never cared, or never thought about it maybe. And this is your excuse to. But you could just do that. You could set up these sub-only events. You could set up Patreon-only streams, Discord-only streams, engage with them, build that better sense of community. You also convert them more to paid subs and paid products or whatever along the way if you want money. But it is a fatal mistake to just wait for a platform to show up to encourage you to do that. So if you're someone who has tried switching platforms and you're blown away by the support of the 5, 10, 50, 500 people that went with you and how stoked they were to be there, that's because you weren't delivering to them enough in the first place. You weren't connecting with them in the first place. A new platform didn't give that to you. You just kicked everyone else out by switching platforms and they were the only ones there. And suddenly you're like, wow, I have real fans. You should have been engaging with them more directly sooner. Stop expecting platforms to solve your problems for you and start working smarter. That is what streamers need to do. You don't need Kick for this. I have watched this happen. I've been around a long time. I've been on YouTube basically since the beginning. I've seen every culture war of Twitch versus YouTube versus Vimeo, Dailymotion, VidMe, Mixer, Beam, Hitbox, Ustream, Livestream. Like, this happens over and over and over every couple years, and it has for over a decade. And honestly, it's dumb every time. And I lose a ton of respect for creators for this. Not even necessarily of a fault of their own if they truly don't realize this. But I'm just tired of preaching it because it's so obvious. If you listen to any advice and you stop streaming the same game 24/7 and complaining about streaming the same game 24/7. I get asked about Kick a lot, and I've gotten so disappointed in my streaming friends who have ignored all the terrible things that the people who run it are doing and saying because they can get an extra $20 out of their viewers that are only supporting you. They'll end the video in a sec. Oh, it's going. I think we're back.